We have made it to Wednesday. Welcome in. This is three-man front on Jox. Pat, Molly, Conrad with you. Landrum out. He'll be back with us on Monday. Based on the traffic in Metro Birmingham, it appears that a great number of you are already taking the time off for a long holiday weekend, and we welcome those travelers that's coming through our lovely city, the lovely state of Alabama. I know many people heading south to the Mobile area, whether it's Gulf Shores or Orange Beach. So welcome to the state of Alabama. Hope everybody has safe travels. Hopefully, we will keep you informed and entertained for the next 4 hours on this program. Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider. He's our weekly guest that we talk what's going on in the world of Vegas lines. We will continue the conversation in regards to win totals around the Southeastern Conference with him. 11 o'clock, Rodney Orr, that is typically with us on Thursday. He is going to be with us at 11 o'clock. This is a big day for Alabama football fans because they potentially, for the 10th consecutive day, could land themselves a top-notch recruit. Another wide receiver is on the board, and that's Cedarian Morgan, the number one player in the state of Alabama. He is going to give his verbal commitment at 12 noon today, Conrad, whether it's going to be Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, you name it, all the big boys in college football, they want his services, so we'll see what he says coming up at noon.
Yeah, this is a big one for both Alabama and Auburn. If Alabama, obviously, we all know the hot streak that they've been on recruiting-wise, and this would be their third receiver in 3 straight days. It would be their 4th 5-star guy they have in this class, which is the most of any school right now. And then for Auburn, we'll get into some news they got yesterday, but the wide receiver position looking like maybe more of a need now than ever in this recruiting class, and getting a 5-star like Cedarian Morgan would certainly make a lot of Auburn fans feel better today.
So last week we had Rodney Orr on the program, and he was telling us about the Tighter Insider Firecracker 5. It's the 5 players that Rodney picks out every single year, and he kind of gives you a deep dive on each individual player. And 3 of the 5 of the Firecracker 5 have committed to Alabama after Brian Williams Jr. Remember, we talked to Rodney about him last week. He's a 3-star wide receiver. He's from Lake Mary High School in Florida. He verbally commits to the Tide. He is 6'4", 202 pounds, so you can imagine with that type of frame, what he's going to be able to do to get to Alabama and get more muscle on that 6'4" frame. So that is commitment number 16 for Alabama. It was the 9th straight day that Alabama had received a new addition to the 2026 class. Bama has now shot up to number 7 in recruiting. At the beginning of the week, they were 34th. That's what happens when you
Pretty good.
grab a couple 5-stars and throw in a couple 3-stars as well. So Bama, a top 10 recruiting class as we speak with those 16 commitments. As I mentioned, Benjamin Russell 5-star receiver Cedarian Morgan. He is going to announce his decision today at noon, so we will be following that very closely. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's ranked as the number 11 overall player nationally, according to 247 Sports. He's going to decide between Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, Colorado, Florida, and Georgia. Those are his finalists. And just because he says, I'm going to this school, does not mean that all those other schools are just going to go, oh, well, shucks, we just missed out on him. We'll just move along.
Well, and I always wonder, too, how it works out, because what you said is 100% correct. And just because, he goes to, let's say he commits to Colorado today, doesn't mean he doesn't commit to Auburn or Georgia
Those
or
other schools
Alabama.
just don't stop recruiting
later
him.
down. Exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out for him. But hopefully, like we had with Xavier Griffin over the weekend, right? We were talking about how great it was that, boom, they got in, they got out, right? He made his decision. They didn't drag it out and make it this whole big thing. So we'll see how it goes for Mr. Morgan today. But that's going to be a big get for whoever it is. And I mean, you talk about Georgia being in there as well. Georgia has been maybe even hotter than Alabama on the recruiting trail as of late.
Yeah, they're on a heater, just like Alabama is. So we'll keep you posted on that. And we'll talk to Rodney coming up at 11 o'clock and get his feelings on a prediction on what's going to happen with Morgan. Meanwhile, the news down on the plains of Auburn is not going very well. This has been a very bad week for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. The last couple of weeks, they've had a couple of decommitments. They lose another player yesterday, Denarius Gray. He's a 4-star wide receiver. He flips his commitment from Auburn, not to Georgia, not to Alabama, not to Florida, Kentucky. He's the 99th overall player in the country. He was Auburn's longest tenured commitment in the 2026 class. He had been committed to Auburn since January the 1st of 2024. And now he has decided that he wants to go spend his falls in Lexington, Kentucky.
And I think that's what the hardest part to grasp is if you're an Auburn fan, because, you go back to someone like Tootle, right? Okay, linebacker commits to or flips
Goes
to
to
Georgia.
Yeah.
It stings, but you kind of understand that.
Devin Carter, you can understand why he decided to go to Florida State because
he's a legacy.
He's a legacy. His dad played there, so yeah, it makes sense. And then they were able to flip the Penn State quarterback foul zone.
Yeah, yep. And
so that was good for Auburn to do that. He's a 4-star quarterback commitment, 4th best player I think in the state of Pennsylvania. But it's, as we know, when it comes to recruiting, it's a lot about momentum. And when you got a player that will commit to a school, then that player will be able to go out and try to get more players to follow suit and try to commit. And for whatever reason, Auburn just has not shown that they've had the momentum like they've had the previous 2 years in which Auburn has done extremely well.
And that's one of the hard things to sit back and watch if you're on social media a lot following the recruiting stuff, is you see, Alabama is the prime example right now. Of all these guys that have committed in the last 2 weeks, you go and look at their social media, all of their posts are, we're just getting started. You don't even know what we've got coming down the pipeline in terms of recruiting. And they're all feeding into this animal on social media of, look at what we're about to do. We're about to put everybody on notice, and everybody buys into that. And the other players want to be a part of that, right? You want to go play somewhere where you already feel like you have that brotherhood. And that's tough to do when you're sitting there with 6 commitments in your class and none of them are your premier blue chip guys that you look at as, oh, you got a 5-star quarterback. Okay, well, that guy's going to be able to attract all the wide receiver talent, the offensive line talent, right? Because they want to go play with him, and you don't have that right now if you're Auburn. And so, it's fair to sit here and say, is Auburn going to be 89th in recruiting in December?
Oh, gosh, no.
No, they're not.
No, not at all.
But I think we can also start to say it's not very likely that you're going to be in the spot you were the last couple of years where you had top 10 recruiting classes. That doesn't seem very feasible right now.
All right, so 3-star tight end prospect Kentrell White from Midtown, Georgia, he is going to announce on Friday at noon if he's coming to Auburn or he's going to go to Blacksburg, Virginia, and play for Virginia Tech. He is 6'4", 210 pounds. White played wide receiver and defensive back for his high school. Auburn has been recruiting him as a hybrid tight end. He's ranked as the industry-generated 247 composite as the number 1,238th player, the number 65 tight end, and the number 134th player from the state of Georgia. So he's going to make a decision on Friday on where he's going to go play. But as Conrad mentioned, currently, as of this moment, Auburn is 89th in recruiting. I think barely ahead of UConn, if I'm not mistaken.
They are right ahead of UConn and slightly behind the San Jose States and Idahos of the college football world.
And we all know that that's going to change. But
absolutely,
here is some good news for Auburn. Former Texas A&M safety Jacobe Matthews, he is transferring to Auburn, according to 247 Sports. Matthews was the top-ranked safety in the 2022 class. He signed with Texas A&M under current Auburn defensive coordinator, obviously DJ Durkin. He played in 21 games with the Aggies. He totaled 66 tackles, 8 pass breakups. He did have 1 interception. He transferred after the 2023 season. You remember a lot of guys.
Yep.
That top-notch recruiting class that Jimbo Fisher had signed that just did not live up to the expectations. He left and went to 1 year of junior college. And so now he is coming to Auburn. And so now Matthews is going to join a loaded safety room. You've got Caleb Harris, Sylvester Smith, who are the favorites to start this fall for Auburn. So to me, that looks like it's a depth situation where they're just adding a little bit more depth. Maybe he comes in on certain packages on defense, but it's someone that DJ Durkin recruited and knows very well.
Well, and given the proximity to the start of the season, maybe somebody they think could come in and get acclimated pretty quickly because he is so familiar with DJ Durkin and how he likes to call his defense. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's not a bad thing, right? And again, we get enamored just because he's a former 5-star doesn't mean anything, but it also means he's clearly got some sort of natural talent that a lot of teams were interested in a couple years ago. So, Yeah, it's not bad news if you're Auburn, but again, I think it's good. But then you realize, oh, okay, well, there's probably a reason that this guy wasn't playing in the SEC last year, and it's maybe because he didn't show enough in his couple of years at Texas A&M to make it look like an attractive option last year.
Once again, the caveat is that we're sitting here in July, and nobody's signing papers to obviously officially commit to the school. These are all verbals, and we all know how these verbals go. Even before the world of NIL, it was always questionable. I mean, how many times before NIL did we have guys that, okay, I verbally committed, and then 2 weeks later, 2 months later, get in the middle of the season, they decide, oh, changed my mind.
Yeah, get a tattoo of a school that you're committed to and then go to their rival school.
But I guess the concerning part, if you're an Auburn fan, is that under Hugh Freeze, you have not seen this. Because the last 2 recruiting classes, he absolutely went out head-to-head against Alabama and Georgia, and he was able to get the guys that he felt they needed to get to put into that system to make Auburn a more competitive football program, and he has done that.
Well, and what was the narrative last year? Oh, man, Auburn's killing it in the state of Alabama. Alabama can't get any of these guys. They were beating Alabama out for all of the top talent in state, and now you're getting a little bit of a reversal of fortune on that. And so I think there's a lot of reasons that you could look at that and why they have taken this dip. But no, it's certainly concerning, and especially when you consider the last 2 years, really the only thing you've had to get excited about has been recruiting, and now that seems to have gone by the wayside in what is, as we all know, a very critical season for Auburn, because recruiting is going to get better. But if you go out there and you have another 6-6 type season, you wonder how much better the recruiting actually will get, because you're probably talking about a new coach, and that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But we
will continue to talk about the recruiting situation, not only at Alabama and Auburn, but around the Southeastern Conference. 10:45, Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider. 11 o'clock, Rodney Orr. We expect to hear from Cedarian Morgan coming up at 12 o'clock, where he's going to go play, or at least he's going to commit where he's going to go play. And then at 12:30, Molly's movie review. Molly, not giving it away, but today's movie that you'll be reviewing is
The Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys.
Sounds like she loved it.
I don't want to say anything yet. I'll just leave it at that.
Maybe that's what made her sick this week.
It probably is.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past that movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Uh-oh.
Well, I didn't.
I'm convinced that's what did it. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be feeling better next week then.
Yeah, so if you go to the 3-Man Front Twitter site right now, Conrad, give us the 4 Academy Award-winning movies that she's going to have to choose from.
Yeah, so you have 4 options as you do each and every week, and this week's theme was Best Picture winners. These are all movies that have won Best Picture, right, Pat?
In this country?
Well, maybe in other countries.
I don't think they won anything in this country.
I don't think that they did either. So your 4 options for next week, and we do have a pretty big lead for one of them right now, but you've got Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Waterworld, which is making a repeat appearance on the list.
Ugh.
Waterworld has been on the list like 3 or 4 times.
Too many.
Yep. And
Too many.
Unfortunately, it might be back on it again because I don't know if it's going to win. You also have The Postman and then Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, a famous Sylvester Stallone movie.
I'm going to be so serious. When I saw the poll this morning when I woke up, I actually had to Google that to make sure it was a real movie. Because I've heard of Pee-wee before, and I've heard of Waterworld and The Postman, because those have both been on polls in the past.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was like, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
I literally had to Google to make sure you didn't make that up.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Did you watch that back in the day when it came out?
I think I might have accidentally came across it on HBO one night.
Yeah,
I never even heard of it until today.
Well, I don't think you're going to be watching that one because as the voting stands right now, Pee-wee's Big Adventure has a big lead, 47.8% of the vote, followed by Waterworld with 26%. Postman has 18%, and then Stop or My Mom Will Shoot only 7.8%. So.
Now, if Landrum was here, I would ask him the following question. Have you seen the Pee Wee Herman documentary?
I guarantee you he has seen that.
You know, that just came out.
Oh, there's a new one that came out?
Yeah.
I figured there was an older one.
No, there's one that's relatively new, and I can't remember what. It might be on Max. But, yeah, it's...
How many Pee-wees are there?
There's just one.
Oh.
But it's a...
Oh, Pee-wee as himself.
Yes.
It is on HBO.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating name for the
So
documentary.
should she watch that before she watches Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I feel like it might actually make it more interesting to watch the movie and see that, and then realize maybe
watch
some of the
that.
not great things that.
And you said it's on Max?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I have Max. I can watch that. The doc after I watch Pee-wee.
Well, we still got a little time.
I know.
I mean, we've got 2 hours and 14 minutes, but as of this moment, Waterworld and the Kevin Costner fans out there is really going to have to coalesce to try to get them back in the game here.
Yeah, they certainly are. So I'll be honest. I've never
here's the
seen.
thing: if you were to take so there's 2 Kevin Costner movies on the poll list, right?
And if you combine them, they're
If
still
you combine
losing, right?
them, it's actually
It would be about tied.
it would be almost an identical tie. The 2 Kevin Costner movies with Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I did tell Pat though, because I've never seen the Pee Wee movie either. But if that is the one you watch, I'm also going to watch it because I just have to see how
Thanks, Conrad.
good or
We're
bad
in this together.
good or bad it is. I love a good bad movie.
Good for you.
A good bad movie.
Can't say I feel the same way.
That is interesting.
Yeah, you crack open a couple cold ones and you just laugh your butt off at how awful it is.
And in your case, just take a lot of cold medicine.
Yes.
Yeah, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll all be a dream probably.
Yeah. A fever dream.
Yeah, fever.
Literally.
That's exactly what it is. All right, so go vote on Molly's Movie Minute for next week, and at 12:30, she'll review what you told her to watch last week, which was The Lost Boys. You know, we are quickly running out of time here for the Molly's Summer Movie Series.
I know we've only got a couple weeks left.
This
is
before
crazy.
Cocaine Bear.
I like doing this. It's always fun for me. It's like a fun summer project. It's like summer reading, but more fun.
We'll see what you think after your Lost Boys review and obviously Pee-wee's Big Adventure review coming up for next week, it appears. Well, one thing is for sure, Courtesy GMC in Trustful, they are ready to serve you over this holiday weekend. The summer sales event is currently going on. The lowest prices you're going to find not only in the Birmingham metropolitan area, but for all of our listeners in Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, even down on the coast now in Mobile. It's the short drive. You can go to courtesybirmingham.com and you can see the lowest prices you're going to find in the Southeast when it comes to brand new GMCs. How about this? Up to $15,000 off Sierras, up to $10,000 off Sierra HDs. Largest discounts on 2025 Yukons. They got plenty to choose from there on their 9-acre lot. All new 2026 GMC Terrain. That thing is sharp as all get out. The dealer right now, they're ready to make deals because it is the summer sales event. So huge discounts across the board. Take advantage of this wonderful summer sales event at Courtesy GMC. And don't forget about these certified used vehicles right there on the lot, ready to go, priced to move. So Courtesy GMC in Trustful off of I-459 exit 32, or of course their website at courtesybirmingham.com. It's the Wednesday edition of Three Man Front. This is Jox. The Courtesy GMC text line is open at 205-834-9450, 1-800-239-WJOX. That is the phone number here to this radio program. Yes, we are live today. We will not be a live radio program tomorrow and Friday, taking a couple extra days as we celebrate Independence Day in our nation. We'll be back on Monday with live programming. And then in just 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now, we will be in Atlanta, Georgia for SEC Football Media Days. Just think, 2 weeks from today, Conrad, Kalen DeBoer will be at the lectern talking about how good this Alabama football team is going to be this year.
I thought you were saying 2 weeks from today, you and Landrum are going to be abandoning me in the middle of downtown Atlanta, because that's exactly what's happening. But the Kalen DeBoer thing is also happening.
No, we would not do that.
I hope I make it back, Molly.
Oh, I was just thinking, you guys will have to make sure he's well behaved
Oh,
around DeBoer.
I'll be fine. I've
Okay.
been around him a couple of times. Only freaked out once. It was fine.
I mean, you were literally within feet of him at, the beginning of spring practice? You went down there for the press conference?
Yeah, got to go down there and be a part of the press conference, and I only fainted one time, so that was good. I just told him I overheated, so
fortunately, Nick Kelly and Mike Rodak was standing behind you, and they caught you.
They were there to help me out,
and they fanned you, and they got you back to life.
And unfortunately, that was the first time I ever met Rodney, and he was like, "Who's this guy?" And he's like, "Oh, that's yeah." And then
that's the guy that calls me every Thursday.
Yeah, he's like, "That's the guy that won't stop blowing me up about Alabama recruiting." But no, it'll be very exciting to hear from Kalen DeBoer, because as we know, this is a big year for Alabama, and I think it'll be very interesting. I think we all expect that Alabama will probably be predicted third in the conference.
I think that's pretty solid.
Behind Texas and Georgia.
Yeah, I was on Sean Fox's radio show yesterday afternoon, and we were talking about that, whether it's going to be Alabama or LSU. I think you could slide either one, depending on where the media is going to vote. Did you see where the Big 12, they have decided that they will no longer have a preseason media poll? They're not going to allow the media to vote.
That is hilarious to me.
Will we still get a coach's power ranking of the Big 12?
Well, I think that's probably what happened, because if you remember last year, Deion Sanders and Dillingham, they finished next to last and last in regards to the coach rankings, according to CBSSports.com. Listen, we make fun of ourselves for the SEC preseason poll because it has been extremely bad in regards to, if you're looking for a poll to like, oh yeah, you guys got it right.
Oh yeah, no, we get it wrong.
The majority of the time.
We get it wrong all the time.
And the reason, and my theory with that is the following. There are a lot of people, I want to say oh my gosh, there's over 1,000 people, I think, that's credentialed for SEC Football Media Days.
There are a ton that vote in that.
And so everybody votes. And let's just be honest, you do have a lot of websites that are catered to one particular school.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's just be honest, those people would be more apt to vote for the team that they cover, and maybe a little bit more rose-colored glasses, in their opinion, than other folks.
Yeah, and to go along with that, right, especially when you get to like maybe the middle of the pack of the SEC, some of those people maybe don't have the best. Maybe, a lot of them go, well, based on last year, that's kind of how I'll determine my vote for this year, because they haven't been keeping up with a lot of the roster movement or coaching staff changes and things like that for the schools. But I think we're all very interested to see how many people vote Vanderbilt first, because that's a running joke. If you haven't heard us ever talk about it, but it happens every year. Somebody, at least one person, picks for them to win. And so now that they actually had a very impressive season last year and have some expectations, it'll be interesting to see if maybe a couple people jump on that bandwagon, or if it's, oh, well, now that they're good, the joke's not funny anymore, and nobody votes for Vanderbilt to win the SEC.
I wonder how that media member felt when Vanderbilt beat Alabama.
Oh, I bet they were on top of the world.
I bet so.
It was funny because probably when they voted Vanderbilt at SEC Media Days, they were probably hiding. They didn't want anybody to know that was them.
Right.
And then the moment Vanderbilt beat Alabama, it's like, hey, I'm the one.
That was me.
That was me.
What are the well? No, I was gonna say, what are the odds it was Matt Moscona? But he would have definitely let us know if it was him. So unfortunately, I don't think we can pin that one on Matt.
So last year, they had Georgia winning the SEC championship.
Okay, got that one right.
Texas was number 2.
Got that right. Wow.
Bama was number 3.
Well,
Ole Miss was 4. LSU was 5. Missouri was 6. And the reason I'm laughing is because the SEC champions. So Georgia garnered 165 total votes in regards to the preseason SEC champion.
Okay.
Okay. Texas was number 2 with 27. So it was overwhelming that Georgia was going to win the SEC championship. So Bama came in. They had half the votes of what Texas did. They were at 12. Then Ole Miss was at 4. There were 2 teams that had 2 points and 1 team with 1 point. LSU and Vanderbilt had 2 points to win the SEC championship.
Down.
There you go.
And then South Carolina had 1 point in regards to winning the SEC.
That's the person who really needs to be bragging because they knew something that the rest of us didn't.
Yeah.
Or I will admit there are times the way that you have to drag and drop some of the things, it could be
by an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the easiest voting process in the world. It can be a little tricky at times.
But last year, the media voted Vanderbilt to finish dead last in the Southeastern Conference, behind Mississippi State and Arkansas. So the 4 worst teams, according to the media last year when we voted, was South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt.
And the only one of those that ended up being in the bottom 4 was Mississippi State. Because your bottom 4 in actuality was Oklahoma, Auburn, Kentucky, and Mississippi State.
So the top 4 was Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vandy.
I forgot South Carolina was way down there.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we got 3 of the top 4, right? Because Alabama, they didn't finish 3rd, they finished 4th, but Texas, Georgia, and Alabama all finished in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was just Tennessee and Ole Miss that kind of flip-flopped there.
Yep. So we'll see what wonderful knowledge we will drop on the college football world when we vote this year.
It'll be great. Is your favorite, like mine, always trying to pick the 11 offensive linemen for the first and second? Because there's sometimes where I'm like, man, I need to text Cole. Like, I need a lifeline real quick. Hey, yeah, so I got a starting 5, but I'll be honest with you, the 9th best offensive lineman in the SEC.
Is there much difference?
Maybe gonna need some help figuring that one out.
Yeah, no doubt. Coming up in 15 minutes, we will talk to Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider. Top of the hour, Rodney Orr from Tiger Insider will give his thoughts on Cedarian Morgan, who is going to choose today between Alabama, Auburn, and a host of other schools for his services. He is due to make that announcement coming up around lunchtime. This is 3-Man Front on Jox. This is three-man front on Jox. Pat, Conrad, Molly with you until 2 o'clock. Landrum back with us on Monday. Best of program tomorrow and Friday. Live programming back here on Jox on Monday.
Well, the Alabama heat and humidity can be absolutely brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. You want to keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system, and they've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years now, and that's why they are our official cooling partner right here at Jox. So go find a comfort specialist near you today online at Trane.com.
Unfortunately for the Braves, they were unable to get a little momentum going by taking on the Los Angeles Angels last night. The Angels shut out Atlanta 4-0. That's 5 losses in 6 games for the Braves, who've been now shut out 3 times in their past 5 games. Braves rookie right-hander Fuentes, 0-2, 10.80 ERA. He is scheduled to start tonight for Atlanta. Jurickson Profar, who has been out, he's been serving an 80-game suspension for performance-enhancing drug use. He is scheduled to make his return back for the Atlanta Braves. So if you're looking at the standings, a team leapfrogged you overnight. The Miami Marlins are now ahead of the Atlanta Braves in the National League East. I did not think that I would be saying that in this year of our Lord 2025. Atlanta is now 11.5 games back, 7.5 games back from the wild card.
I mean, if we were 2 weeks into the season and you said the Marlins were ahead of the Braves, that would still be a little, okay, it's early, but that's kind of shocking.
Half
and
the
here we
season
are
is
in
done.
July, and they are now in 4th place in that division. Just absolutely brutal. I mean, last night you have Grant Holmes, 6 shutout innings, and then the bullpen completely collapses. Granted, offensively, you didn't have anything going either, but I mean, it's ugly, and it's only getting uglier. And as we talked about earlier in the week, it's, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And if you're Braves fans, you probably, you might have to be prepared to let go of some guys that you've been loyal to for some time because, now my thing, Pat, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but if you're a Braves fan, I think you have to start looking at what is the future going to look like? Not even, okay, this year's a wash, let's reset next year. What gives you a bunch of confidence right now that next year would be significantly better? I mean, you've got your guys healthy now, and it's still not working, not clicking.
Yeah, and when you look at the potential trading partners for anybody out there, and you would say, well, the Braves offense, is it their back-end bullpen? Like there's a lot of different issues with this team. There's really not like this one fix. And so then the question is, what players would be potentially available? I mean, when you start thinking about position players, let's just take the offense for a second. You got Josh Naylor, first baseman for the Diamondbacks. That's a name that I think teams will be, knocking on the door of Arizona. You've got Ryan O'Hearn. He's a designated hitter with the Orioles. Orioles are not going anywhere this season.
Nope.
So that's someone that would be of interest. This is a local name that we know very well. Luis Robert Jr. from the Chicago White Sox.
You could get him for probably not too much at this point.
Nope. Now, he did just go on the injured list with a hamstring injury, but he was a superstar here in Birmingham for the Birmingham Barons, and he just really has not really taken it to the next level in regards to the White Sox parent club. But he's a name that's out there. Suarez, the third baseman for the Diamondbacks, that's a name that probably could be had. You've got Cedric Mullins, another Orioles. He's a center fielder.
He's always been underrated in my mind. He's a good player.
But he's batting just .214. That's
I'd say so. You're not much better off with him than you would be with Michael Harris, who's still playing good defense.
Then you got Jaron Duran sitting there with the Boston Red Sox. That's someone that Landrum has remarked multiple times.
That's somebody about 29 clubs would like to have.
Yeah, he's 28 years old, and he is under the Boston Red Sox control through 2028. So whoever if you traded for him, you would be able to obviously have him for quite a discount.
Yeah, it's just, you're in an interesting situation with some of these guys because, right, the big names, you mentioned Suarez, who has been excellent for the Diamondbacks. Personally, I hope that's somebody that Brian Cashman's looking at for the Yankees. But you look at him and Bregman, those are probably the two biggest names out there. But then you have the Austin Riley situation, right? Are you going to move him to the outfield so that they have a spot to play? Jaron Duran obviously would be a big one, but I don't know if you look at any of those guys and say, okay, we go and get him and then we get a solid middle reliever and we're right back in this thing, right? You're not at that point from a roster construction standpoint. So they can try to make some splashes. But yeah, I mean, I would think if you were going to see the Braves make a splash at the deadline, I would think it would be more so because they traded off somebody that maybe is a little bit of a surprise, whether that's an Austin Riley or, you go into some of that pitching depth that you have.
Let's go to the phones, 1-800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Hoover. Dave is first up. Hey, Dave, hope you're well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I looked at last night's lineup, and I'm just sitting there scratching my head. So, arguably, the hottest hitter of the Braves lineup the last 3 or 4 games has been Sean Murphy. So, you look at who they have in their order that's going to produce some offense because they've been shut out 3 of the last 4 games. Nick Allen's not a good hitter. He's okay. Michael Harris has been struggling, although he got a duck fart hit last night, so that doesn't really count in my book.
Right.
So then I take a look at the catching spot, and you've got a rookie left-handed hitting catcher facing a left-handed pitcher. I'm like, you know what? I know he gets a night off, Murphy does, but I'm going to have my right-handed guy that's been hitting the ball well face that lefty. I'm not going to throw the left-handed rookie catcher out there to face the lefty, especially since we're struggling. I just don't understand it. And then I hear that, the Kelnick thing where he didn't run out the ball off the wall and Snit said he didn't see it. Then Swellenbach has something pop in his elbow, and Snyder had to run down the dugout and tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, Coach, we got a problem out on the mound. He wasn't watching. Is he doing a Joe Biden impression all the time? Is he asleep? What is Snitker doing?
Well,
this guy we can't get him out of town quick enough.
All right, so Dave, let me ask you this. You're a good Braves fan, and we've had this conversation with Landrum. Is there anything in particular that if you were in charge of this team at this moment, I'm talking about front office, not talking about Snitker, I'm talking about front office. Is there anything that you would see that you could do to improve this team for the rest of 2025 and set you up for more success in 2026? Is it trading away a young arm? Is it trading away one of your pieces? I'm not talking about Acuna, but maybe Austin Riley. Is there anything that you think that you could do this year to help with the rest of this season, but set you up for continued success for 2026?
Well, I see Max Fried's ERA is like 1.39 or something.
It's above 2 now, Dave. He had a rough night last night.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, he took one on the chin. He's above 2. Look, when the Braves won the World Series, you got to remember, all those guys that are there now that was on that team all had career years.
Right.
And so I look at it when my kids used to come and yell and scream about somebody did something. Well, you got this story, and then you got that story that's somewhere in the middle. So these Braves hitters aren't as bad as the year they're having, but you remember, like I said, they had a career year. So I don't know that I would get. They just need to add a couple of pieces. What I would do is, I'm sorry, Ronald Acuna, I'm moving you out of that first spot. I mean, you're losing RBIs because the people he's going to drive in are at the bottom of the lineup.
True.
I've never understood that one. He's a solid number 2, number 3 guy to me. That's where I would have him.
All right, so let me ask you this. I threw out this scenario in our offices before the show. So Chris Sale, if I'm not mistaken, he is signed for 1 more year, correct?
I believe that's right.
Okay. Yep. Would that be something? Because let me tell you something. If you're a team in major contention, now you're not going to trade him to anybody, potentially in the National League East, but there are going to be plenty of people that would love to have Chris Sale down the stretch run or a postseason run for a team that's going to make the playoffs. Would that be someone that you would consider? Because it's not going to be a rental for a team. Like, you would pay a high price to get Chris Sale, but you would get him for the rest of this season and then 1 more year based under his current contract.
My understanding is they just put him on the 60-day DL.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Oh, the rib thing is that bad?
Okay, I did not know that. Okay. Okay, well that changes everything.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, forget that idea then. Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was unaware of that.
Oh yeah, he will be out until at least the end of August.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, all right. Well, I had a good idea there for a minute, Dave.
And the other problem they got is Ronald Acuna. They have an option after next year. The Braves have an option on 27 for him, but he's probably going to say, given the fact that the tussle he had with Snitker, and when he made that tweet, he said, they would have, if that'd been me, they'd have benched me. I just don't know that Acuna's going to hang around. Plus, Yankees or Dodgers would if they give Soto $75 million a year, they'll give him $100.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, have a great 4th of July. Great talking ball. Thank you. Thank you for the call.
Take care.
Coming up next, Vegas Insider's Brian Edwards joins us from MajorWager.com. Welcome back to Jox, three-man front. Pat, Conrad, Molly, Landrum back with us on Monday. Every single week on this program at this time, for MajorWager.com, Vegas Insider Handicapper. He is number one in our books in regards to what's going on in the world of Las Vegas and sports. It's Brian Edwards joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Brian, I hope you're well, getting ready for the onslaught of those travelers and those vacationers for the long holiday week down in Santa Rosa. I'm sure you just love this time of the year.
Oh, they're already here. Traffic sucks, no doubt.
Well, let's talk some win totals in the SEC. Over the last couple of weeks, we have hit on a lot of different schools around college football. We're going to kind of center in on a couple of SEC teams that we have not asked you about. And let's start with the Ole Miss Rebels. So the Rebels, if my numbers are correct, they sit at around 8.5 wins, according to Las Vegas in the preseason. This team was knocking on the door like Alabama and South Carolina was last year for the college football playoff. They've had a lot of guys move on to the NFL. Transfer portal's been good for Lane Kiffin, a new quarterback, though. What say you? 8.5 wins for the Rebels.
So I marked them 7-1 with 4 swing games. And by the way, so I wrote down in my Phil Steele mag, June 18th, they were 8.5, but it was shaded to the over -170. And I just looked now. It's only -152 to the over now, which is still pretty pricey, but not as pricey. So, well, first off, just a little on personnel before going through the schedule.
Sure.
So last year, I thought Walter Nolan was huge for them. So was Chris Paul, the linebacker transfer from Arkansas. They lost so much off this defense. They only gave up 14.4 points per game last year, whereas the lowest they had allowed in every other previous season under Kiffin was 22.5, which is pretty good, but 14.4 is, elite, one of the best in the country. They are not going to be that salty on defense this year. In fact, Phil Steele's national unit rankings have them 26th on the D-line, 27 linebacker, 49 in the secondary. They only returned 18 lettermen. They lost 35. Now he is still great in the portal, but not, he had number 1 class last year. This year, number 4 transfer specific, 30 transfers, 19 power 4, 10 were 4-star guys. So again, I marked them 7-1 with 4 swing games. I've got them losing at Georgia, where they're a 9.5-point dog in games of the year. Swing game at home to LSU, where they're favored by 1.5. Swing game at Oklahoma. Swing game at home to South Carolina. Swing game at home to Florida. So, going back to those, I think LSU game is a true swing game. Ole Miss has beaten LSU in the last 2 in Oxford. So that's a true swing game to me. At Oklahoma, I haven't seen Mateer play in the SEC yet, but I would kind of lean Oklahoma there. And then South Carolina at home, I would lean Ole Miss. And then Florida, if Lagway's healthy, I'd probably lean Florida there. But, Austin Simmons is probably going to be playing better later in the season. And by the way, his Heisman odds are 37-1 FanDuel. So I would say it's a pass for me on the win total. I think they're probably an 8-4, maybe 9-3 team if Austin Simmons is really good. And I tend to think he's probably going to be really good. We haven't seen him much other than a couple drives in the Georgia game in the first half when Dart had to leave injured.
Okay.
He looked pretty good then.
All right. So basically you're passing because there's just too many swing games, in your opinion, as of this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Correct.
Makes sense.
All right. Well, there's another SEC school I wanted to ask you about, Brian. But first, do you have early odds on Grant Nelson to win NBA Rookie of the Year with the Brooklyn Nets?
I do not, but I have Walter Clayton at 100-1 odds, and I'll be putting $20 on that with one of my accounts.
And for those new listeners to our program, there's this ongoing battle between the University of Florida basketball team and what Grant Nelson, he was dunked on, right? That was the deal.
It's something I don't.
No,
it's kind of hazy now.
Condon.
That's right. Condon did.
Pinned him on the backboard when he went in for a dunk, and it was my profile Twitter profile thing for a few weeks.
But Grant Nelson did have a wonderful.
He got a little bit of a
at the Duke game.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
I'm no Grant Nelson hater. I love Grant Nelson. He's a hell of a player, and if he needs to put on more muscle, I know it's hard for him, but if he does, maybe he'll hang around on an NBA bench, a little playing time for a few years, possibly. We'll see. Hopefully
so. I had to have some fun with you there, Brian. But before we let you go, I did want to ask you quickly about a team you actually just mentioned going through Ole Miss, and that is South Carolina. A lot of people, high expectations after what they did last year. A lot of people really love Lenora Sellers and what he can do in year 2. I believe their win total right now sitting at 7.5. So where do you sit with the Gamecocks right now in 2025?
Well, a couple of big things with these guys. First off, they lost their top 5 tacklers. They're not kind of like Ole Miss. They're not going to be as salty defensively, especially up front. But the big thing with them right now is Rashul Faison, who is a absolute stud running back transfer from Utah State. he hasn't been ruled eligible yet by the NCAA. There's some sort of appeal process going on, and without Rocket Sanders, they really need him. And now they could probably get by the first few weeks without him. Vatek in Atlanta, South Carolina State at home. Now Vandy at home is going to be tough with Diego Pavia, but they need him ruled eligible. If that happens, that's a good thing. I marked them 5-1 with 6 swing games. Swing games being at Mizzou, where I'd probably lean Mizzou there, but I'm going into Mizzou open-minded because I'm not really sure about their quarterback situation. Got them losing at LSU. Oklahoma at home, a swing game. Alabama at home, a swing game. I would lean Alabama outright there. At Ole Miss, probably lean Ole Miss. At A&M, lean A&M. And Clemson at home, they're plus 5.5. A lot of swing games. It's a pass for me on the win total.
All right, there you go. Some great information there on Ole Miss and South Carolina. We will continue this conversation with Brian as we get ramped up to the start of the college football season. Listen, don't have road rage this weekend. I know there's a lot of tourists in town, but just take it easy, okay? Just please.
I will.
All right? All right.
I'll do it, fellas. Y'all have a great 4th. Thanks for having me.
All right, as always, Brian. That is Brian Edwards joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Coming up next, Rodney Orr from Tighter Insider. Welcome back to Jox and Three Man Front. Conrad, Molly, Pat, Landrum back with us on Monday. You know, this is a very historic day. On this date in 1776, the Continental Congress voted for independence. What John Adams foresaw as the most memorable epocha in the history of America. Finally, he declared 13 clocks were made to strike together. They struck hard enough to reverberate throughout of all time. So how about that? Today we voted to leave the wonderful empire that was the British and decided to start something called a republic.
Worked out pretty well so far.
So far, so good.
Good 249 years in the books.
It's a good run. Just like Alabama recruiting is on right now. What a great segue for our next guest. Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider, joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline now. How about that? 1776. What were you doing on that day? Do you remember?
1776?
Yeah.
Covering recruiting.
I know what I was doing in 1976.
How many 5-stars did Alabama have in on this date in 1776? Just getting started, right?
No idea, Pat. Hey, usually it's Landrum with those kind of questions, but
very true. Well, he's not here, so I thought I would, throw one of those crazy questions out there to you. But all right, all kidding aside, Alabama's on a heater. You have seen these heaters before when it comes to recruiting. Once again, the caveat for all of our listeners, because I know folks are yelling at the radios right now, we understand these are verbal commitments, that it can change on a dime. Somebody might commit and 10 minutes later decide to go on social media and change their commitment. We get that. But from a historic standpoint, what you've seen over the last 9 days, do you recall anything similar to this even under Nick Saban?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some runs there where Alabama's had, just great finishes in the last week of recruiting or whatever. I think, you could go back to the 91 class when Palmer and Jeffries and Willie Gaston and Sherman Williams and, Sam Shade, Curtis Brown. I mean, I'm just rattling off some names. All of these guys fell in Alabama's favor. Damian Jeffries. These guys all fell in Alabama's favor, like within a few days, and it was an incredible finish, And then I think 2008 when there was Julio and Ingram, all of those guys, several in that group that fell late. In the process that really kind of capped the classes. Now it's a little bit different. These announcements coming in June, but this is kind of one of those, you get that feeling from this group, that here they are. These guys are just lining up. You've had a real good run and there's still more to come. I mean, it's been one of those, yes, I would say it's certainly been one of those amazing runs.
Well, Rodney, I think Alabama fans are hoping that continues today because in just about an hour from now, there's going to be another big commitment made, and it seems that it is heading towards Alabama. That's 5-star receiver Cedarian Morgan out of Benjamin Russell. So what can you just tell us the latest on Morgan, Rodney, and is it still safe to assume that the Tide are the favorite heading into his decision?
Yeah, well, last Wednesday, the way these announcements lined up, we kind of had to change our release of our Firecracker 5, which we usually have always released on July 4th. And, Cedarian's one of those guys. He's we had 4 5-star players in our Firecracker 5. To this point, E.J. Croyle obviously committed. Xavier Griffin has committed. And there's still 2 Firecracker 5-stars out there. And Cedarian Morgan's one of them, obviously the safety. Jira Edwards announces on Saturday. He's in there. And the Brian Williams Jr., who was a 3-star, he's going to be moving up. Watch for him to move up. He committed yesterday. So I think, the way we kind of still feel about this with Cedarian Morgan is he'll pick Alabama today at noon. And if that's the case, obviously the Firecracker 5 really exploded with some power this year. So we're looking forward to that, and I think Alabama's in great position.
I want to go back to early part of the week, if you would, just touch on a couple of guys that they've gotten, because I understand that recruiting services often feed the fan bases. I get that when you talk about the stars. But coaches have told me in the past, and I'm sure the same ones have told you the same thing, they have a formula. They like certain measurables that they're looking for certain type players. So whether a service considers them a 3, 4, or 5-star, if it fits on what the coaching staff believes they can develop in the player, that's really irrelevant in regards to what they want to do from a recruiting standpoint. But I want to go back to a couple of guys this week. One, the young man that was, I think it was a 3-star wide receiver, but that he ran a 4.4 at one of the Alabama camps, and then obviously that got on Alabama's radar. And then also, obviously, the tight end from the state of Illinois. If you'll just kind of touch on those two players in particular in regards to what Alabama liked and what they saw and brought them on board.
Well, I think first of all, you want to start with Owen Cabell,
right,
the receiver you mentioned from Nashville Christ Presbyterian, 6'3", 195. He had timed a 10.7, 600 meters. And then he came down here to Bama's camp a few weeks ago, turned in an eye-popping performance. I mean, the video got out. I don't know who exactly put that out, but anyway, it was a really impressive video. Watching him run routes, his ability to stop, his ability to start. He was timed at 4.4 in the 40, as you mentioned. And I think when you look at the two of the critical factors that they look for in receivers, height, they want some height, more height than what maybe they had last year, and they want the ability to stretch the field. So those are two keys, and I think obviously 6'3", 200 pounds, he has the size, and he has the athletic ability and that speed to stretch the field. So with Cabell, I think those things were really critical. I think, again, when you look at Max Sutter out of Dunlap, Illinois, who is the tight end you referred to, the 4-star rated tight end, chose Alabama over Ohio State. Man, he's got so many tools. First of all, the great height. He's around 6'6". He's 230. He's got the frame. I know that I think his dad was an NFL player, so he's got the bloodlines. He's got the right mindset. He's got a lot of really good qualities when you look at him. But just that size, the athleticism, the ability to run routes, catch the football, make things happen. And again, he's going to get bigger. He's probably going to play at least 250. So he's a guy that's going to be able to be really physical for you. So I think all of those things with both of those guys were certainly attractive to Alabama.
Rodney Orr from Tider Insider joining us here on Three Man Front, as he does each and every week on the Higginbotham Hotline. Somebody I wanted to ask you about, Rodney, because I think I guess it seemed like maybe there's a little confusion among some people in the fan base, because we all know Jet Tamala, the quarterback that Alabama got a commitment from a few weeks ago, but now they've also offered a kid by the name of, is it Hayden Kawa? I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, but another quarterback in the 2026 class. So can you tell us why maybe Alabama's looking to add 2 quarterbacks in that class? Is this maybe just kind of a safety net in case Tamala decides to go somewhere else? What can you tell us about that situation and that offer?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's Tayden with a T, Tayden Kawa, and he's from Orem, Utah. He is originally from Hawaii. He's a big kid. I mean, I think he's 6'4". He's pushing 220. So again, very impressive. He came down here. He threw at Alabama's camp. They were very impressed. So they've seen him in person. They made that judgment. But as far as taking 2 quarterbacks, which is kind of unusual these days, it's difficult to get to. But I think really when you look at this, so Alabama has 3 right now. And let's just be honest. These guys don't sit and wait long. So next year, this time, of those 3, there's a pretty strong possibility. Maybe one of those guys is only left standing.
Yeah.
So you're going to need depth. You're going to need guys. So with Tamala, if you bring in Kawa, which it sounds like he may be somewhat close to committing, then all of a sudden you've got 2 young guys. You can bring into your program next year and have here for the depth purposes and to, kind of start to prepare for the future, because I'm telling you, numbers can get really scary at quarterback. And so I really think that's why they would like to get 2 quarterbacks in this class.
Okay, so what's left in this class? Apparently, they've hit a gold mine in regards to wide receivers and potentially another big one coming up at noon. What other position groups should we be paying attention to from an Alabama recruiting standpoint moving forward for the rest of the summer?
Yeah. So next up, now I'm not aware of anything that's going to happen tomorrow, so we may get an off day. But July 4th, Nolan Wilson, 4-star rated defensive lineman from Pecune, Mississippi, outstanding player. Auburn's been in there. Miami's been a real strong team there. Ole Miss. I think Alabama's you can go ahead and pretty much expect that I think he's going to commit to Alabama. Again, 6'4" or so. He's 250, but he's got the frame. He's going to fill out. It's like J.J. Finch, the defensive lineman that committed a couple of weeks ago from Indianapolis, who's gotten kind of bigger. I think this is the same thing with Nolan Wilson. These are two really good defensive linemen. They got Maury Johnson committed also on the defensive line. Cedarian Matthews is probably going to be a defensive lineman. So that's something to watch. Wilson go a long way in topping off this defensive line class, although they have a couple of others that I think are strongly in the mix. Don't forget Tank Jones down in Mobile, the 5-star. It's going to be really key with him. He can play edge or he can be a defensive lineman. And then you've got Elijah Golden out of Sarasota, Florida, another defensive lineman that's going to make his announcement probably between Alabama and Notre Dame. Although Oklahoma and Virginia Tech are in there, he announces on the 26th of July. And then, of course, I did mention Jaira Edwards, the safety from Baltimore, who's going to announce on the 5th. Feel really good about Alabama there, too. That's, I would say that, the defensive line, but also they've got 2 offensive linemen committed, really good ones. I mean, Chris Booker and Sam Utu from California. Booker, of course, is from Georgia, Atlanta area. But they need another guy, and it's going to be interesting to see who that is. Maybe it's the Wilson Zaire kid from Rabun Gap, Georgia. This guy's generating a lot of buzz as far as Alabama, and I know Auburn's got a connection to him, and they're in there really strongly as well. But they do need another offensive lineman, and they do need to polish off this defensive line class in strong fashion.
So I do have just kind of a general question for you, but first, you mentioned Tank Jones. I know we asked you about him last week. Have you heard anything about when he is going to commit? Because I think the belief is it will be this month, but I didn't know if a specific day has come out yet.
Yeah, that's going to be real interesting because I don't know. Tank hasn't really tipped his hand on an announcement date right now. So we'll see. Now, look, I said on your show a couple of weeks ago that Texas A&M was a team that really was to keep an eye on here. I know that there's a report came out yesterday about the Aggies maybe kind of pulling to the forefront. But again, we'll see how this plays out over time. But Alabama obviously is still very much in the mix there.
Okay. And I did quickly I wanted to ask you just generally speaking, because I know we were kind of talking over the weekend, me and you, Rodney, about this, but from your perspective, just how impressed have you been with what you've seen from the guys that are committing to Alabama? There seems to be this unified front on social media where every time any sort of recruiting information comes out for Alabama, one of these guys, whether it's a Xavier Crowell, a Xavier Griffin, like these guys are, they seem to already have this bond and this brotherhood. And as we know, not all of these guys are probably going to stick to Alabama ultimately, but just how impressed have you been by what seems to be just this mass group effort from Alabama's commits to continue this recruiting hot streak? I think it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's you mentioned the word brotherhood, and I remember shortly after DeBoer got here, I mean, within the first few weeks, the coaching staff went down to Mobile, and they met with a ton of coaches in South Alabama. Had one of those high school coaches call me and say, I don't really know much about this guy, but the sense I get from him, and he used the exact word you just used, he's going to build a feeling of brotherhood within the program. That's a culture that they want to build. And I think you're right. I mean, that's kind of what you sense from some of the responses that we see. And I think that probably went a long way, too, when you're talking about the portal in the spring, that Alabama didn't lose anybody. Everybody, stayed here, stuck together.
All right, so recapping the beginning of this interview, coming up at 12 noon, you believe 5-star wide receiver as of this moment is leaning towards making his commitment to Alabama coming up at noon, correct?
Yes, I think, I expect Cedarian Morgan to follow through with the commitment to Alabama. Again, Auburn's been in there, and the other teams that we mentioned. Florida made a really strong impression, Georgia, Clemson, but I do expect Alabama.
All right. Well, it will be the 10th day in a row, correct, Rodney? That they will have gotten a commitment, and you said maybe a day off tomorrow.
Maybe a day off tomorrow. You never know.
You never know. Rodney, have a great and safe 4th. Be careful of those Roman candles, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right, thank you. That's Rodney Orr from Tider Insider. Follow all of Alabama recruiting at tiderinsider.com. He was on the Higginbotham hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Also want to tell you about Golston Tree Service, because if that old tree is leaning a little bit too close to your house, your deck, or maybe your car's in the driveway, don't wait for the next storm to make the decision for you. You need to call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. They're trusted local experts in fast, affordable, professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup, licensed, insured, and they're ready to handle any job, big or small. Call Golston Tree Service again today, 205-337-4443. Golston also offers that 24-hour emergency tree service. When it comes to your trees, don't risk it. Call Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443.
Well, we'll recap what Rodney Orr said, dive into this recruiting success that Alabama's been on, and we'll also get to some of your text on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. That's next on the Wednesday edition of Three Man Front.
Always appreciate Rodney Orr's insight. He's predicting that coming up at 12 noon, 5-star wide receiver Cedarian Morgan will commit to the University of Alabama. It will be the 10th day in a row that Alabama will have gotten a verbal commitment. So, you excited?
Spectacular.
You excited?
I am. I'm glad they're going to take a day off tomorrow, though, because we all need a little bit of a breather.
You need to catch your breath,
back,
right?
Yeah, and then they'll get back to it on no holidays off though. They're getting back to it on July 4th, but it's been remarkable. Again, we all know the caveat. Doesn't mean that all these guys are going to commit and ultimately sign on the dotted line in December. But right now, it's looking mighty good. A lot better than it did 2 weeks ago. That's for sure.
I was interested because I sent the video to Molly last night. But Brian Williams Jr., the 3-star wide receiver, who Rodney just told us that he believes that he will be a 4-star in regards to.
He will get bumped up eventually.
Yeah, he'll get bumped up to a 4-star. But he is from Lake Mary High School in Florida. And at his ceremony yesterday, in which he committed to the University of Alabama, the player to his left chose the University of Nebraska.
Welcome to the good life.
What position do you remember? What
he
position
was a wide receiver.
Was he a wide receiver too?
I know Nebraska got a
receiver.
Yeah,
was he?
I assumed it was the same guy.
Okay.
I guess Alabama didn't want that one.
So the guy to
I'll remember that.
I had to.
The guy to Brian Williams' right committed to FIU, and then Williams committed.
Dale Pitbull, right?
Oh yeah, that's Pitbull Field. Yeah.
So then Williams committed to Alabama, and then the player to his left committed to the University of Nebraska.
Very cool.
Congratulations,
Mama.
What if Brian Williams would have reached under the table and accidentally grabbed a Nebraska piece of clothing as opposed to the Alabama clothing?
Oh, well, then we never wanted him.
If he chose the wrong outfit to put on?
Yeah, we didn't want him.
Oh, okay.
He should have slept in it. If he's
We'll
that
take him
excited,
then.
he's that excited about playing for Alabama, he should have slept in his Alabama game.
And then he just didn't want to cause a stink. He just, okay, I'll just go to Nebraska.
Whatever. Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
You got my spot ready?
Yeah, it's like when you get proposed to in public, but you don't want to say no and embarrass it. You
say
just say
yes.
yes, and then privately later
You'll
you
be
go,
like, hey.
yeah, actually, I think we should break up.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Well, last night on social media, this was trending big time, and I'm glad to see that it wasn't anything more serious. Wrong New, NIU, also known to basketball fans around the world as the Red Panda,
Yep.
suffered a serious fall during her halftime performance at Tuesday night's WNBA Commissioner's Cup game between the Minnesota Lynx and the Indiana Fever. The veteran acrobat, whose bowl-flipping unicycle act has made her a fixture around the NBA, WNBA, and college basketball since the early 90s, fell from nearly 8 feet in the air while performing her iconic routine. New was grabbing her left wrist as she was laying down on the court before being assisted off in a wheelchair by medical personnel. A WNBA spokesperson confirmed she was taken to the local hospital for evaluation after the game.
Yeah, if you saw the video, it was scary. I mean, she was up on, I guess that was a unicycle is what she was riding. And yeah, she just lost her balance and fell off the front. And certainly somebody as accomplished as her. I mean, she's the most infamous, halftime performer that you have, especially now. And, hopefully it's a speedy recovery. But it was cool because, again, I know there's a lot of people out there probably don't know who this is, but it was very cool to see a lot of big people in sports media yesterday go and wish her well wishes and go out in support of her. So very cool for her, and hopefully she'll be back at it in no time. But I will just say, if you've never seen her performances,
It's impressive.
go on YouTube.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Was she ever in Nebraska at one of the halftime
Yeah,
basketball
she
games?
was a few times, and I always used to, because we had to go to our locker room to get ready, but we always had a TV on, and it would show her all the halftime performances, and Red Panda was always my favorite.
So Caitlin Clark, she spoke on Sydney Colson's Instagram Live last night. She sent her message of support to the Red Panda, saying, "We love you." New is a Chinese-American acrobat who comes from a family of professional performers. She has dazzled crowds over 3 decades. She estimates she executes a perfect show 75 to 80% of the time.
That's remarkable. Considering all of the things that go into her performances, that's.
Since debuting in the NBA back in 1994, when she performed at more than 40 games in a single season, Red Panda has become a cult icon among basketball fans and sports writers. She has also appeared on America's Got Talent Season 8, British Got Talent in Series 18. She's also performed at Game 5 of the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City just last month.
Yep.
As of 2019, Red Panda was reported to typically earn between, what do you think?
In a year or per performance?
Per performance. It is a 5.5 minute performance. What do you think she gets paid?
$1,500
on average.
$1,500.
I was thinking like 2,000 or 3,000.
$2,500 to $3,000.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, look at
For
me go.
5 minutes of work?
And the team.
Hey, she's a big deal.
I know. That's incredible.
And the team provides her travel and lodging expenses.
That's nice.
Does it say how many performances she averages per season or year?
She does a ton.
I know.
In 1994, it says that she performed in more than 40 games in a single season. So that appears to be like the high water mark.
Wow.
At her peak, she commands $5,000 per appearance.
So at minimum here, because, I mean, she does NBA and college and other events. I mean, if we're just sticking with that 40, I mean, she's making minimum $100,000 a year.
Our good friend Pablo Torre.
Oh, he's doing something else now?
He has campaigned for a long time that she needs to be inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame.
Yes. Sign me up for that. I agree.
Quoting now, he says, Red Panda is the greatest halftime performer of all time. But her injury reminds us that her job is legitimately dangerous and that she is deeply underpaid, which is yet another reason Red Panda should already be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. I will not rest until she is.
Okay, I don't. That's going a little far.
So he took time off of destroying the life and career of a young lady in North Carolina.
Yeah, I guess him and Bill Simmons aren't yelling at each other anymore. Yeah, no, she is incredible. She's iconic, and again, but it just shows you when even they mess up how difficult doing those acts are and doing it, night in and night out for what 30 years now, over 30 years. It's impressive. So yeah, hopefully she gets better soon, and we'll be seeing her around the SEC hopefully in time for basketball season.
I guess the thing that surprised me about this story, and listen, I'm not trying to be ugly here, but I really thought that should be higher than 75 to 80%. You do this every day.
I would have thought it would have been like 90%.
Yeah.
But I guess
all the times I've seen her, like seen videos online, I've never seen her mess up.
Well, and that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Is when she messes up, is it something that she's like, oh crap, I messed that up a little bit, but
like, to the
nobody
naked
watching,
eye,
you can't tell.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably more so what it is because, yeah, I feel like if she was messing up every fourth time, people would.
And that's a big thing with
show that.
performers is like you have to cover up your mess up so that you don't make it obvious. You can't show on your face or in your body language. So maybe it's that type of thing.
All right. So as
Because
many
I've never
times,
noticed it.
as many times as you've done halftime routines
Uh-huh.
in your career,
Uh-huh.
a perfect performance, what percentage would you said? Like she's saying that she basically 75 to 80% of the time it's
Mhm.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
In your career, how many routines do you believe you did perfect, percentage wise?
I'd probably say that's fair because
About the same number?
Yeah, because as much as you practice, there's usually something that's gonna go wrong, no matter what level you're at. Because that type of thing you just like can't control sometimes, whether it's like something is on the court or the music messes up. It's like there's a lot of different variables that can happen with halftime shows, or someone accidentally like misses a finger, like little things like that too. But again, like to the naked eye that like wouldn't know, like that wouldn't be at our practices, you would have no idea that one of us might have messed up.
And maybe for you, it's something that was completely out of your control. You just kind of have
Right.
to roll with the
And
punches.
that happens sometimes, yeah.
So I assume, did you guys look at tape after
yeah.
y'all's performances?
Mm-hmm. We were
And the coach
always
would-
recorded. Yeah.
And the coach would say, Molly, you did this incorrectly. You did this right.
Yeah. Or a lot of
whatever
times like the
case.
captains would too.
Do they yell at you?
No, it depends.
Ooh.
Normally not. We were all pretty good, but
Okay.
yeah. We were well behaved.
So hopefully Red Panda is on her road to recovery and she'll be at an arena near you very soon.
Absolutely. Yep. Well wishes to Red Panda.
We'll get to your text line, 205-834-9450. Next on Jox, so we will get into some Heisman odds. Yes, they have just been updated from Vegas. We'll tell you who is in the clubhouse as the leader right now, next on Jox. Braves back in action tonight as they continue their 3-game series with the old California Angels. And for a short time, they were the Anaheim Angels. Now they're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
I still call them the Anaheim Angels.
I see. I still call them the California Angels.
Well, there you go.
Back in the day. So game 2 of that series. But we do have a little bit of news coming out of Atlanta in regards to the roster.
Yeah, so they're going to be one player short. Well, they're replacing him with Jerkson Profar, but they are going to be one player short as the Atlanta Braves have just designated for assignment outfielder Alex Verdugo. So the butt of many jokes on my part at the beginning part of the season, but he hit .239 for the Braves, no home runs, 12 ribbies, in just under 200 plate appearances with the Atlanta Braves, and he is now DFA'd.
I am surprised that he did not hit more home runs.
Yeah, I would have thought he would have been good for a couple of them, but unfortunately for him, it seems that the hitting struggles that he faced last year in New York for the first time in his career have followed him to Atlanta.
Well, this 4th of July, the fireworks aren't the only thing that are going to be sparkly. Diamonds Direct is also sparkly as well because it's not your typical jewelry store. It is a full-on experience. The second that you're walked in, you're buzzed in through the front door like you're a VIP, and they greet you with champagne or water, and they have this warm, personal energy about them. I went in recently, and I'm always blown away by the showroom because the place is so sleek, everything sparkles, and the team actually listens. It was actually so hard for me to pick out what I wanted because everything was beautiful and everything was perfect. But right now, they actually have a promotion going on where if you buy the engagement ring, you'll get the wedding band for free. I'm serious. So if you're thinking about getting engaged, now is the time to do it because you buy an engagement ring, you get the wedding band for free. So it's not just shopping, it's like a date with Diamonds Direct.
Heisman odds have been updated this morning, and according to Las Vegas, no big surprise, Arch Manning is a 5-1 favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Coming in at number 2, 8-1 odds, Garrett Nussmeier from Louisiana State. Cade Klubnik of Clemson, he is number 3 on the board at 9-1. Drew Aller from Penn State, 12-1. And rounding out the top 5, the greatest wide receiver in the history of college football, Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, 16-1 odds. Any of those 5 jump out at you as a shock, surprise? You wouldn't have them in there. What do you say, Conrad Van Order?
I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. The one for me that, and again, it's kind of difficult this early in the season, especially this year where there was a lot of guys that, you would traditionally say, ooh, the Ohio State quarterback, the Alabama quarterback, the Ole Miss quarterback. But we haven't seen those guys play meaningful snaps really, and so we're kind of waiting to see on them. But I'm still not totally sold on Drew Aller, just to be completely honest. I thought that Penn State had a pretty easy path through the college football playoff up until they faced Notre Dame, and some of his decision-making late in that game was atrocious. So I'm still not totally sold on Drew Aller, but I think Arch, Nussmeier, Klubnik, and Jeremiah Smith certainly would be in my top 4 right now. And then I think after that is where you really get interesting, right? Because that's where you kind of get to go, are you going to buy into a DJ Lagway this year? Are you going to buy into a Julian Sayin this year? A John Mateer kind of situation. So there's I think some very interesting values right now with the Heisman, but no surprise that Arch and Nussmeier, the 2 BFFs now, are at the top of the list.
I would have Jeremiah Smith ahead of Aller. I'm like you.
Yep.
Just not that enamored. Changed my mind mid-season, but as of now, I would definitely have Smith with better odds than Aller. You mentioned Lagway. He comes in with the 6th best odds. Sellers at South Carolina. After that, Dante Moore from Oregon. Julian Sayin. They both have 20-1 odds.
That would be if you were going for someone with a little bit maybe more value attached to him, I would probably go Julian Sayin.
Okay. The best odds for an Alabama player is Ty Simpson. He is the 11th best odds at 30-1. He is tied with John Mateer, who comes in at 30-1 from Oklahoma. Coming in at number 13, this is very interesting. Gunnar Stockton at Georgia has 40-1 odds. He has the exact same odds as Ryan Williams. That, to me, is absolutely dumbfounding.
In the sense that you think that Ryan Williams should be significantly higher, or
Absolutely.
Gunnar Stockton should be?
That Ryan Williams should be higher than Ty Simpson.
I'm not going to lie. I'm
Okay,
sitting in
that's-
here wondering why you haven't said his name yet.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of head scratching, because you mean to tell me that Gunnar Stockton has as good odds as Ryan Williams to win the Heisman Trophy?
I mean, I agree with you. I think I would have Ryan Williams higher than he is on this list. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. So Austin Simmons at Ole Miss has better odds than Ryan Williams. Do you agree with that?
No, I do not.
Sam Levitt at Arizona State?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, you already said you'd have him over Ty Simpson. What about Mateer at Oklahoma?
I would probably have maybe if you're gonna put Williams in with someone with the same odds, I might put Mateer there because he's going to put up numbers.
What about Carson Beck at 25-1 at Miami this year?
I would have Ryan Williams better than Carson Beck.
Okay.
The highest Auburn player currently on the Vegas board with the 20th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy at 60-1 is Jackson Arnold.
Kind of funny that he has the same odds as former Liberty quarterback Caden Salter.
Yes. Reed at Texas A&M also at 60-1. And Moss at Louisville, 60-1.
Miller Moss, baby. I'm a believer. This is the year. I was a year early on him.
And
and who's right behind him?
And Molly, if you're wondering who is coming in at number 21, according to Las Vegas, Dylan Raiola.
Let's go.
At Nebraska.
I know where my money's going.
65-1 odds. So put $1 down, you win 65.
I will.
Okay.
Book it.
Cam Coleman has the 23rd best odds.
Is he 100-1?
He is 100-1, yes.
Okay, I was about to say, he has the exact same Heisman odds as Caleb Downs.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoever that is. Heard he's good.
He's pretty good. Very much so.
It's going to be very interesting to see what I'm sorry, we overlooked this. So Joey Aguilar is 55-1 to win the Heisman at Tennessee. Nico is 70-1 at UCLA. That's fun. I mean, I'm sorry. If you're Josh Heupel, that gives you a chuckle.
No, that is funny. So he's got better odds than the guy that used to be there.
Yes, he does.
There's some value there with some of those middle range guys, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I mean, Ryan Williams.
Absolutely.
Mateer.
I mean, yeah, I think Mateer. I think even I wouldn't be mad if you wanted to put a futures bet on Austin Simmons, right? Because we know what you could be in that offense with Lane Kiffin.
Hey, let me tell you something. Having Love at Notre Dame at 48-1, if you're looking for, that's.
If you're looking for a non-quarterback, that's good.
Because you know good and well if Notre Dame finds itself in the same type conversation it was last year, that he is going to skyrocket.
Absolutely. And yeah, unless they go and do what Jake Hatch had kind of alluded to them wanting to do, which is go and get Retzloff out of the transfer portal from BYU, I would think they're going to be running the football a lot this year.
Very much so. Well, we've had a respite of this rain in central Alabama, and I've been telling you about that free roof inspection. Hopefully you have taken me up on that and it called Abide Roofing for that free roof inspection. No strings attached. There's no pressure at all. The number is 205-922-7134 or abideroof.com. After these spring storms, a lot of you might be wondering, okay, what kind of damage do I have up on my roof? It's amazing what kind of damage can take place with the heavy winds, hail, thunderstorms. It all can be real-time, big-time problems down the road. So that's why Travis Lloyd and the great team there at Abide Roofing, they're ready to help you today. Whether it's a loose shingle that they can replace or a larger problem like a full roof replacement like I had to go through, they can deal with your insurance companies directly, and they can get all that taken care of. I trust these guys 100%. You should too. They're bonded, insured, licensed. They're the real deal at Abide Roofing. So call them today. Their local roofing team is ready to assist you at 205-922-7134 or go to their website, abideroof.com.
Well, coming up at 12:30, we'll have Molly's Movie Minute as she reviews The Lost Boys. But right now, you can vote at the number 3 Man Front on Twitter for what movie she'll watch next week. We'll give you an update on that poll next on Jox.
11:46 here on Jox. Welcome back to the program. A reminder, we will be having a best of program on Thursday and Friday. We'll be back live in studio on Monday. Myself, Molly, Conrad, and Molly will all be back. What did I say, Molly twice?
You said Molly twice.
Like there's two of me?
Is there two of you?
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, no. You've been sick and not sick. I don't even know when you're here or not here.
And then there's Deborah. I'm kidding.
That is the second Molly. That's right.
Have you eaten your cake from BB yet?
No, I have not. But I'll probably eat it after dinner tonight.
And that's perfectly fine. But let's just state for the record. Pat's track record of bringing cake to you, not very good.
No, it's not.
My track record, very good now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're perfect.
Actually flawless.
Thank
One
you,
for one.
Conrad.
You're welcome. Pat gives me a hard time about not being a good teammate sometimes. So
I was pleasantly surprised when I walked in the office this morning and I saw that lovely piece of cake sitting on my desk.
I had to fight off Paige last night, but it's okay.
And you said you're going to be
brought it
eating
here to
that
you?
tonight after dinner?
Probably.
It's very good. You're going to enjoy it.
I'm excited.
Well,
I love red velvet cake.
I will wait till after you consume it tonight, and then I will send you a picture of the people that touched the piece of cake as they were putting the cake.
I thought you were sending me. I thought you were saying you were gonna send me some broken bones again. And I was gonna have to block your number again.
Well, I thought the piece looked pretty good because we had kind of just taken the scraps from all of the plates that were left over and tried to mesh them back into one piece of cake.
That's what I'm saying. I will
thought
send
it
you a
looked pretty
picture
good.
of the people that were trying to. It's like putting Humpty Dumpty back
I'll say
together again.
it's definitely a moist cake, so I can see that.
Yeah, it worked. It worked out well, right?
If she knew, she would not be eating it beforehand. But it was fantastic.
You're gonna
excited.
love it, Molly. It's gonna be great.
BB's she's a very good baker,
Yes.
very good cook. So I'm excited.
Very much so. Very much so, to the point that Dr. Mel, remember on the show yesterday,
Yeah, he was requesting
pudding.
banana pudding.
See, I don't like banana pudding. I don't care who makes it.
she says that she will, because we're going to be in Atlanta for a week covering the SEC football media days. And then maybe the week after that, she said that she might do the banana pudding.
Is it the wafers?
I don't like banana.
You don't like banana?
I don't like the flavor.
That's fair.
Like banana bread is fine.
Yeah.
But just anything, I've never liked it.
Well, and I guess when you think of dessert, most people probably don't think banana.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no.
That's fair.
All right, so what's the update with Molly's Movie Minute? We've now got, 40 minutes?
44 minutes left for you to vote. So in 44 minutes, she will give us her review of Lost Boys. And next week, you have 4 options for what she will review next week. And those are Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Waterworld, The Postman, and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. And right now, Pee-wee is just, the lead has extended, Pat. 50% of you.
Yay.
Half the
now
audience
selecting-
says that they want her to watch Pee-wee Herman.
Correct. 50% of you, exactly 50% of you, have picked Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Waterworld with 25% is in
Why do
second
you guys
place.
want me to watch that so bad?
Postman is 16%, and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot is 8%.
Are you aware at all?
Of Pee-wee?
Yes.
No.
Do you know what he looks like?
No. When is this movie from? Like the 80s? Probably.
80s, 90s,
Okay,
something like that.
I
Let's
have
see.
no idea.
I don't know.
So
There's
you're-
somebody that I was going to compare him to that you might know, but it's not a one-to-one comparison.
Huh.
1985.
Okay, so the
1985.
80s.
Mm-hmm.
Have
you
you ever
guys-
seen Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
Do you like those movies?
Not really.
I just was.
I haven't seen him since I was little.
Yeah.
I was not sure if you knew the history of.
Pee-wee?
Pee-wee.
I can't say I do.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am. But that's why I said maybe she should watch the movie first and then watch the documentary, and it'll be, oh.
I'll do that, okay? It'll be a double
Like I said,
whammy.
I was just asking if you knew anything about him at all.
Also, have you guys seen the responses to the Twitter poll? Because they're pretty funny.
Is it a bunch of people excited that you're going to watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure next week?
Well, first of all, our friend Joey over at Sanford, he says that Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield should be added.
That's a good one.
Okay.
I like this one. Jolly, this is not me, by the way, this is Jolly, says she shouldn't be made to watch any of those unless she gets a raise and a week off. Those picks are a hostile work environment.
Hey, Pee-wee's Big Adventure has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Bama Posey says sheesh, and then Royal Payne says, okay, who on 3 Men Front is a closet Kevin Costner fan?
Kevin Costner's good. What are you talking about?
One day the audience is going to get smart and they're going to vote for Kevin Costner.
Well, she
Well,
got
they
Bull.
did
They
with
got Bull
with
Durham.
Bull Durham, yeah.
But that's actually a good one.
I really like Bull Durham. That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It made me laugh.
It's a good one.
Now, The Postman is 2 hours and 57 minutes.
Are you kidding?
No. But it's not going to win, so you don't have to worry about it.
Well, it's not going to win this week.
Let me Google.
2 hours and 57 minutes.
Yeah, that one does not have an 88 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, what does it have?
14.
Hmm.
That's a
14?
long time to sit through a movie that's bad.
2 hours and 57 minutes.
That's so honestly,
that
Pee
sounds
Wee's Big
miserable.
Adventure may be the
Best movie on that list.
yeah, let's see. The Sylvester Stallone Stopper My Mom Will Shoot, that has a 14% as well on Rotten Tomatoes. And Waterworld, I think Waterworld's better than that, right? 45%. So you've got really bad, pretty bad, and then Pee Wee. So
That
make,
is
make
gonna
of
be-
that what you will.
And
Why do you guys do this to me?
See, and the thing about it is it will be appointment radio for me because I will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. You will be gone. Yeah, so you'll
Do
have
you
to
want to
tune
hear
in
what I
from
have
the.
to say about Pee Wee?
So what you need to do is you need to watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure
Okay.
and then immediately following, watch the documentary.
Okay.
Okay?
So, like right after, or can I do it like a day after?
You can do it a day after.
Okay, cool.
You can do a day after.
Okay.
I think that's the right
So
way.
I'll
for
watch
me to do
Pee
it.
Wee one night, and then like the next night, maybe like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
Then
I'll-
you'll really get to know Pee Wee.
Great.
And then when you come in here and do your movie review.
Will I be
for next-
traumatized? That look does not make me feel
No,
very comfortable.
no, you're not. You're not going to be traumatized.
Okay.
Pat doesn't seem so confident. It'll be
Pat
fine.
seems really disappointed.
It'll
right
be
now.
fine.
Why
It'll
am
be
I, no, I'm not disappointed.
You're just kind of scaring me
I
with
just
that reaction.
I'm trying to.
You're gonna love it. It's gonna be great.
Is she gonna love it?
No, probably not.
I'm
Are you
so
talking about the
scared.
documentary she's gonna love, or is she gonna love the?
I think
the
she'll
movie?
enjoy the movie more than the documentary. I also think she'll enjoy the movie more before she watches the documentary.
That's true.
So
Because
I'll give a rating pre-doc and post-doc.
see, that's a great point because if she would have watched the documentary before,
Yeah, it'll skew her
like
perception
what,
of
like,
the movie.
The movie was pristine,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, yeah,
So I'll do a pre-doc rating and then a post-doc rating. How about that?
that's really
I'll give 2.
that's good.
How I feel before and then after I'm traumatized.
So do not let your parents influence or give you any information about Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, don't Google pictures or
not.
anything.
I won't.
Just go in
The
blind.
only thing I Googled is just what streaming service it's on. Because I need to know that.
I can tell you right now, so you don't even, because then you're going to see the cover and it's going to ruin everything.
Okay.
Let's see. Pee Wee's Big Adventure is on Prime Video.
Oh, perfect.
Amazon
I have
Prime.
Prime.
There we go.
What Pee Wee's on Prime?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See, when he was popular,
He was a big deal, right?
well, I mean, he was, but doing a Saturday morning show.
Oh, we had a show?
Yeah, every Saturday morning on CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning a lot about Pee Wee today.
Yeah, so
See, because
he
it was
had-
Pee Wee's Playhouse, right?
yeah, it was Pee Wee's
Yeah.
Playhouse,
Okay.
which is a play on its words in its own self.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you would have that. You just got that. So you would have the TV show on Saturday mornings, and then they gave him a movie.
I'm so scared.
Molly, Molly, Molly. So many texts I'm getting from people listening to the show right now that are just, it's unbelievable.
It's gonna be great.
It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's appointment radio next week for me. No matter where I am, I will find this radio show. Welcome back to Jox and Three-Man Front. We've hit the midway point on this holiday weekend. We will not be here tomorrow or Friday, but we'll be back on Monday. Really appreciate Rodney Orr and Brian Edwards joining us earlier in the program. Now, we were waiting.
It's all over, Pat. It's crumbling before our very eyes.
It's bad news.
It's over. It's over.
We were waiting on 5-star wide receiver from Benjamin Russell High School here in the state of Alabama. The number one player in the state of Alabama was supposed to be giving his verbal commitment at 12 noon. It has now been pushed to 1 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He's making a last-minute phone call with Matt Rule.
He's got cold
Is that
feet.
what it is?
Yeah.
He's got cold feet. Doesn't like Tuscaloosa anymore. He's done.
You think Coach Prime's on the phone with him right now?
I think Hugh Freeze just got off the back nine somewhere and is driving to Benjamin Russell High School.
I think that's what it is.
That's what I think.
Maybe Hugh was playing golf and, well, it's dead period. He can't actually.
That's true.
None of them can have contact with him. But
yes, but he's getting pushed back to 1 o'clock. So we'll see if that changes. Where he has been predicted to go to Alabama. So maybe this is a scheduling thing. Maybe it's hey, somebody came in at the last second and he wants some time to reconsider some options, things like that. I did see apparently Terrell Owens expected to be there alongside him as he makes his announcement today. So maybe they're waiting on T.O.
Is Tennessee Chattanooga in the running?
I do not believe so, but I did not know that he went to Benjamin Russell.
He did.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
So
he
will be there.
Played at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the greatest receivers of all time. So we will have that for you in 1 hour from now instead of 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock for Cedarian Morgan's commitment. Will be Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, or somewhere else.
Clemson, Florida.
Colorado.
I
don't think he's going to Colorado.
Alabama did get good news yesterday as the second wide receiver commitment this week as Brian Williams Jr., a 3-star from Lake Mary High School in Florida. He committed to Alabama. He becomes the 16th commitment for Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Bama now up to number 7 in recruiting. Not good news for the Auburn Tigers. Denarius Gray flipped his commitment from Auburn to Kentucky. The 4-star wide receiver and the number 99 overall player in the country was Auburn's longest tenured commitment in the 2026 class. He had committed on January 1st of 2024. Now, Auburn did get some news that former Texas A&M safety Jacobe Matthews is transferring to Auburn. He is a former 5-star athlete. So, coming to Auburn.
Yes, and he was in JUCO ball last year, so last played in the SEC in 2023. And as we discussed earlier, seems like that's maybe more of a depth piece there, a depth addition for Auburn and somebody that has familiarity with DJ Durkin as well.
Yep. So Auburn currently is 89th in recruiting. Alabama is 7th. And I brought this up yesterday, and I did a little digging. There's been a lot of talk about Auburn potentially going on a heater like the University of Florida did last year. So let's draw a little parallels here. So Billy Napier was going into his 3rd year at Florida, and he was on the hot seat.
Very similar situation to Mr. Freeze. Yep.
He had compiled a 2-year record of guess what? 11-14. What's Hugh Freeze?
11-14.
11-14. You're starting to see the similarities here.
Mm-hmm.
The Gators got off to a tough start, 4-5 last fall. It prompted Florida Athletics Director Scott Strickland to issue a statement on November 9th. If you remember, we were all shocked by this.
Mm-hmm.
Strickland comes out and says Napier will return in 2025. 2 days later, on November 11th, Texas beat Florida 49-17 in Austin, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
It was not pretty. But that seemed to be the turning point for what happened with this Florida football program, not only on the field, but off the field in recruiting. Napier guided Florida to 4 consecutive wins to close out 2024, outscoring LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State, and Tulane 115-52.
Pretty good.
Offense was clicking. It also coincided with a turning point for Florida's recruiting class. From the win over LSU on November 16th to signing day on December 4th, the Gators flipped 15 prospects.
Ooh. Merry Flipmas.
15 guys had committed elsewhere, And because Florida went on that heater, he was able to flip 15 guys, including 1 5-star and 10 4-stars.
It's remarkable.
That's who he flipped during that time frame. Oh, it was outrageously good with what they were able to do. So a lot of Auburn people are saying, okay, look, there's a lot of parallels here between Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier, the records, the program. I think Florida was maybe in the 60s.
Like mid-60s.
Before they went on their little heater last year and getting all those guys to flip. Auburn currently is 89th. We all know that Auburn's not going to finish dead last in the SEC in recruiting. This is not Brian Harsin. This is Hugh Freeze. He's done really well the last 2 years. So you get a little momentum first part of the year in regards to Auburn's on-the-field play. Then all of a sudden, you could have all these flips.
Well, and we know it's a huge year for Auburn as a program as a whole. But, how big of a year is it for somebody like a Jackson Arnold, right? Because I have to think with Florida – a big part of that was, man, look at this DJ Lagway kid. I can go play with that guy for the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah, sign me up to go and do that. And so I think similarly for Auburn, you want the team to look good, but you also want to show, hey, you want to come be a part of this offense. Look how much fun we have. Look at how many, what kind of stats you can put up in this offense. And you need guys that can go out there and say, hey, I'm going to be here for a while, and you want to come play with me. So that's going to be a big part of it for Auburn as well. And they are further behind right now than Florida was last year, but again, you have back-to-back top 10 recruiting classes. I think it would be a shock if Auburn finished anywhere outside of the top 20.
Well, they got a lot of room to operate.
They do. They do.
And not to mention the fact that that budget might be increased a little bit when you're sitting at 89th.
I was about to say, you can probably make a couple phone calls and maybe make some things happen.
Mm-hmm. But we are waiting on Cedarian Morgan, the 5-star from Benjamin Russell High School. His decision was supposed to be underway right now, and it's now been pushed to 1 o'clock. So give us something in the final hour of the show that we will keep everybody updated on. I know a great deal of people looking out of our window on I-65 South, and it appears that it is a parking lot. So,
yes. Well, I'm about to say, I'm looking. He's there right now. I'm looking at some of these pictures that are being posted. It looks like he's there and hanging out. Looks like somebody that's already made his mind up, so we'll see.
And you gathered all that just from the picture?
Well, I'm saying that, he's just, he's sitting there hanging out, talking. I feel like if you were second-guessing yourself, maybe you'd want some privacy, but I don't know. I'm reading all the tea leaves, Pat. I'm doing what I can.
Okay. I understand. A total of 319 NCAA Division I schools chose to opt into the House settlement for this upcoming year, 2025 through 26. The deadline was Monday to opt in. 71 schools opted not to be a part of the House settlement. If you're doing the math at home, kids, that's 82%.
That's a lot.
82% of schools have decided that they will pay the money, and they will. So 18% decided not to.
Not to, yes.
Yep. The deadline to opt in was on Monday. Going forward, schools must decide by March if they're going to opt in to the next year. So just because you decide, hey, I'm not doing it this year, you do have the capability of doing it the next year.
So if you opt out, what is that? I guess what financial restrictions does that put on your program? Are you still operating within the same? I'm kind of curious of what that means for your program if you choose not to opt in. Are you just completely hamstrung from a NIL standpoint for the next year?
Well, I do know that before, when schools have announced, you have had basketball programs to drop down to Division III and not even offer scholarships. I do not.
That would be a drastic change.
I do not have the list of the schools. I just have the hard number in which 319 said, yes, we will play ball and participate.
Man, feel for those athletes at the 18% of those schools that didn't opt in.
Yeah. But 71 schools said, no thanks.
Wow.
Not doing it this year. Maybe next year, but not so much. Let's get to the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. A reminder, you've got 20 minutes to go vote. If you do not want Molly to see Pee Wee's Big Adventure and report on it next week, You've got 19 minutes now to stop Pee-wee's Big Adventure from being the movie.
Yes, you certainly do. So a lot of you chiming in on recruiting as well as Molly's Movie Minute, as Pat said, coming up in about 20 minutes or so here on Three Man Front. So Drake chimes in on the text line. He says, guys, don't forget Cedarian Morgan did say that Florida is his number 2 team. I'm just saying, you never know.
You never know.
You don't.
And he might
Hopefully
say,
we will in 50 minutes.
He might say, I'm going to go to Clemson. And then a week from now, change his mind and say, nah, I'm going to Alabama.
I was about to say, there was a 5-star, I think he was a defensive player, that committed to Oregon a few weeks ago, made this fun video with him and Dan Lanning, and 2 weeks later, he had flipped to USC, I believe. So we've seen it happen this cycle with big-time schools and big-time prospects. Don chimes in, says, hey, guys, welcome back. Molly, glad you're feeling better. Yes, Auburn's struggling right now, but please go read Cole Pinkston's article on Auburn on 3. It tells you about 6 players that Auburn is in on with announcements coming in July. Hope everyone has a great 4th. Thank you for the great show about Alabama football recruiting. You're welcome, Don.
Well, one thing is for sure, Don, we have been on record from the get-go at 10 o'clock. We do not believe that Auburn is going to finish 89th in recruiting. So all those players that you said that Cole Pinkston has written about, I have no doubt in my mind that Auburn is going to get plenty of good players in this recruiting class. They're just a bit of a slump right now. That's all.
Let's see. Vicky chimes in, says, Molly, please watch Ruthless People. Not for official review necessarily, but you could watch it just for pleasure. Ruthless People.
I remember that. I think that was a Judge Reinhold movie, maybe.
Ruthless People. Oh, it's
Danny
got
DeVito?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
yep,
yeah,
Judge
okay.
Reinhold. Yep.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. That could be one
Bette Midler's in it, right?
that you add to your list there, Molly. Yep. Okay. Good
Sweet.
suggestion there, Vicky. Appreciate you chiming in with movie suggestions for Molly. Let's see. Jerry from Hayden. He says, Uncle Jerry, he says, Cedarian Morgan is making me sick. He can't flip to the Barners. Roll Tide for life. Well, we will find out at 1 o'clock if that happens. This is actually pretty funny. Someone chimes in. They say, here's a great movie that Molly needs to see. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's interesting. That was one that maybe had
Molly
been...
said that she's seen it.
I think I've seen that one
have you?
in like middle school or high school.
That's disappointing. Yeah, that's a great movie. Because see, that's one where you would either think it was hilarious or you would think the sense of humor was just
That's
not your style
The
at
bloody
all.
flesh wound movie, right?
Yeah, it's
yes, I've
tis
seen
just
that.
a flesh wound.
Yes.
Tis but a scratch.
Great movie. Let's see. We have somebody. Michael chimes in. Well, first off, he says, my nephew is actually a coach at Benjamin Russell. Very cool. Where's Cedarian Morgan going? Michael, tell us now. But he also says, this is the order that Molly needs to watch next week.
Okay.
Number 1, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Number 2, the HBO documentary on Pee-wee. And then number 3, Blow with Johnny Depp. That's that would be a very interesting movie to get Molly's.
If y'all could just see how bad she's freaking out right
Molly's
now,
take on.
knowing that she is 16 minutes away of being assigned Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
Well,
and she has no idea.
we kind of scared her with what we were talking about or alluding to, but we'll.
I mean, it's not a scary movie.
no, it's not.
The documentary will be.
Yes, that's a different conversation. Let's see. Someone else chimes in. Pee-wee also has an HBO special. It included Phil Hartman and Lawrence Fishburne. He was a weird dude, but funny. Okay. Someone else says, yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Curtis on Pee-wee's Playhouse. Collins from Pill City. Appreciate you chiming in there. Okay. Let's see. Someone says if she watches Pee-wee's Big Adventure, then she has to watch Big Top Pee-wee next.
Oh yeah, there was.
I do not know what that is.
That was another movie, was it not?
Is that just a sequel?
Big Top Pee-wee. Yeah, where he like joins the circus.
It's an unfortunate title for that movie, in hindsight. Max chimes in. From just films to abuse Molly with Long and Slow, Gone with the Wind. You know a movie's long whenever they have an intermission so you can get another drink at the movie theater. I've never seen that movie, and I will never see that movie.
Really?
never
I've
seen
actually
Gone with the
seen
Wind?
it.
I have zero interest in watching 4 hours
It
of
is
that.
a very long movie.
I do
though.
not have any interest in it. I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a lot of singing,
It's been a
right?
long time since I've seen it too, but I have seen it.
A lot of singing.
I don't really remember.
Is there a lot of singing in Gone with the Wind,
I don't
Pat?
think I've seen it since like elementary school.
Singing Gone with the Wind?
Yeah.
A movie about burning Atlanta
Honestly,
in the Civil
I don't
War?
remember.
No.
Oh.
No.
I'm
singing.
thinking of a different movie then.
I don't remember there being singing.
Okay,
but
never mind. I'm
It's just a long movie though.
not particular. Okay, well,
It's not a musical.
I'll skip that
And
one.
I feel like every time I'm scrolling on like my YouTube TV, it's always on some channel. Like I
Gone
always,
with the Wind?
Yeah, I'll always see it playing. But it's such a long movie.
I appreciate you sending that in, Max. I guess I'm the one that needs to watch Gone with the Wind now whenever I have 4 hours free. Mike chimes in. He says, Weekend at Bernie's. That's one we've had suggested a few times. You have not seen that one, correct, Molly? Okay. So we may have to throw that one in there.
That I went to the actual movie
Some
theater
point.
and saw that. That was
It's okay. I mean,
it's just laughable.
yeah. I mean, the
I mean-
concept is, yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's an enjoyable movie, fairly enjoyable. And Jason also chimes in. Has Molly seen The Naked Gun? If not, this has to be on the list with the new one coming out in August. We talked about that one recently with the trailer that came
I
out.
haven't seen Naked Gun, but I have seen Airplane.
Yeah, so we need to
Mhm.
put Naked Gun
Same
on
type
there.
of humor.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I knew, but I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, all good from Leslie Nielsen. And someone says, can we get Ernest Scared Stupid on the list? You know that one, Pat?
I've heard of it. Did not watch it. But yeah, I remember Ernest.
Will, okay, thank you, Will, for chiming in. This is exactly what I was going with. He said, Conrad, you're thinking of The Sound of Music. That is 100% the movie that I was thinking of over
That's
Gone.
a very different movie.
With
Very
the Wind.
different.
Yeah, I can, based on...
One movie's about Nazis, the other one's about the Confederates. A little different.
Interesting. Yeah, a little different there. So appreciate y'all chiming in. More texts coming in. We'll get to those throughout the show. 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line.
More three-man front. This is Jox. Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, Rhett Butler was standing on the outskirts of Atlanta watching it burn, and that was the song they were singing. Right? Is that right, Molly?
Spot on.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I may have gotten two movies mixed up.
Two very different movies.
Neither of which I've ever seen or ever plan on seeing.
You've never seen Sound of Music?
No, because it's a musical, right? Essentially.
Hence the name, Sound of Music.
Okay, that is an automatic no-go for me. I don't do musicals. Not trying to watch a movie where they just sing and dance.
What about Grease?
Not a fan.
What? I love Grease.
Not a big
We've
fan
talked
of that
about this,
movie.
though.
Is your wife a fan of Grease?
She is. My wife loves musicals. She loves Les Mis, Mamma Mia, Greatest Showman, La La Land, all that stuff. And nope. Can't do it.
I like a good musical.
Can't do it.
At times. I have to be in the mood for it.
What about you, Pat? You like a good musical?
I do not.
Yeah, no.
But I've seen them.
Like Mamma Mia, Sound of Music.
I just don't care to watch those on my free time. But yeah, I've
like I said,
been-
I have to be in the mood. Like I can't just sit and watch a musical. Yeah.
No, I mean, there's sometimes, like, do you ever just put on, we'll be in the car sometimes and Paige will put on like the Mamma
Like a
Mia
soundtrack.
soundtrack and sing along. And I'm like, I love you so much, honey. But
it just depends. Like the one soundtrack that I usually do listen to would be Mamma Mia because it's ABBA songs. So
Yeah.
I
was about to say that one
that's
is
a little,
little
different.
better.
Yeah.
Some afternoon baseball to tell you about. Right now, the Pirates over the Cardinals as they go into the fourth inning, 1-0 Buccos. They now go to the bottom of the fifth inning, and the Oakland A's, whatever they call themselves now.
The A's.
The A's.
Just the A's.
They're leading the Tampa Bay Rays 2-1. And the interesting part about that game, the only run in the game for Tampa is an inside the park home run by Jake Mangum.
That's pretty cool.
That is the 24th inside the park home run in Rays baseball history.
Wow.
That is the most of any Major League Baseball team since 1998.
I was about to say, that seems like a lot. And like you said, they've only been around for about 25 years.
24 inside the park home runs, and they have got one today to add to that total. Right now, top of the second inning, this is a doubleheader between the Phillies and the Padres. No score in the top of the second. Meanwhile, the Tigers, they score a touchdown and miss the extra point in the first inning. They're up over the Nationals 6-0. And the Brewers played really good baseball. They are 1-0 over the sliding New York Mets. That is in the bottom of the first in the wonderful city of New York.
Yeah, we've all had, it's been worse for Landrum than anybody else, but I know your team's right now going through a really rough stretch.
We can't score.
If my team loses tonight, we're going to be tied for first place with Toronto out of nowhere. And then Molly's team is just
Well, we no longer have the best record in baseball.
dominating everybody.
The
You
Cubs,
don't?
do the Cubs have the better record? Who has the better record?
No, I think it's the Dodgers.
That's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I was about to say, y'all are still 21 games over 500. Let's
And
see.
we're
The
like-
Dodgers are 22 games over.
See,
yeah.
we're like 11 games up in the AL Central too, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, y'all. Yes, 12 games up over Cleveland.
There we go. Yeah.
You're sitting pretty.
There was some
we're looking
news coming out of Atlanta, a roster move by the Braves earlier today.
Yes, if you missed the news, Jerkson Profar coming back from his suspension, and so in order to make place for him on the roster, they have DFA'd Alex Verdugo, who they had picked up earlier in the year, and he had been given a minor league deal, but then made his way up to the big club, hit just under 240 for the Braves here this season, no home runs and a dozen RBIs. So hopefully Jerkson Profar are going to be able to give them a spark, because if I'm not mistaken, Pat, what I've seen from him in his rehab assignment, whatever you want to call them, in the minors, he
tore it up.
He has been hitting very well.
Yeah, he was playing for Gwinnett, the Stripers, and he had a very, very good rehab assignment. Meanwhile, we are about 5 minutes away from Molly's Movie Minute, as she will review The Lost Boys, and we're giving you one more opportunity to go to the Three Man Front Twitter page, and you can vote on what movies she needs to watch next week. And it fluctuated about 10 minutes ago, Molly. We talked about it. Pee-wee's Big Adventure had fallen under 50%. So I thought we were about to get on a run in which Waterworld was going to potentially give Pee-wee a run for his money. Unfortunately, right now at 50.9% now, it's back above 50%. Pee-wee's Big Adventure finds itself right now at number one.
Yeah, with 3 minutes left to go, Molly, it looks like that's how it's going to be. But and it's a
Go
double
ahead,
feature.
do the surrender crow, bro. Go ahead and do it.
It's a double feature though,
so
because
concerned.
Molly gets to watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure
And then the documentary.
about Pee-wee Herman, who she has never seen a picture of and has zero idea anything about Pee-wee Herman other than the fact that he exists and stars in this movie.
And then I'm terrified.
When you say you're terrified, what does that mean? What do you think?
I have no idea what I'm about to get myself into, and I'm not excited about it.
What do you think you're getting yourself into?
First off, it's not a scary movie. He's a comedian.
Just like maybe a comedian with some sort of past. Based on the way you guys have been describing the documentary. I could be wrong, but I'm just a little scared.
Did he go to jail?
He should have.
See, my point. So.
Oh no, no, he should.
He was charged. I just didn't know if he served any time.
Let's see. This is community service. No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Nope. Probation, some community service. Wow, I really don't know.
So my question is, he did not serve any hard time.
No, he did not. He did not. Really don't know how. No, he did not.
All right. You had it pulled up in front of you.
Thank you, Pat.
Just wanted to see if you had that information. Okay.
Really surprised by that, especially on one of those, but okay.
Yeah. No kidding. All right. When we come back on Three Man Front, we will have Molly's movie minute. She will review The Lost Boys. A couple more minutes for you to vote on what movie she should watch next week. This is Three Man Front on Jox. 12:33 on Jox. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. Pat, Conrad, Molly. Landrum back with us on Monday. We'll have a best of program tomorrow and Friday. Hope everybody has a nice, long, safe 4th of July coming up. I know many of you are heading south to the beach and to the lake and all these places to celebrate the Independence Day. So just please be careful and safe out there. Each and every week on this program, and since we're not going to be here on Friday, Molly had a very short week to review this week's movie, which is The Lost Boys. This is Molly's Movie Minute. The Lost Boys. It's kind of a vampire movie, right?
Yeah, it was a vampire movie.
Okay.
It was definitely a movie.
Oh,
no.
I'm going to be totally honest.
See, you know what's going to happen now? See, the audience, they don't get to see the salty Molly, like in The Office.
No, they don't.
You know what I'm talking about? The one that gets all irritated at us when we make fun of Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't get
Which happens a lot.
You know, they don't get to see that side of Molly.
No, they don't.
But I got a feeling you are about to see a side of Molly that you have never seen before.
I'm going to be totally honest. This is the first movie I've watched in Molly's Movie Minute where throughout the movie, I kept pausing it to see how much longer I had to watch this movie.
And it's only like an hour and a half.
It like I would pause it and be like, oh my gosh, only 9 minutes went by. I'd pause it again. Only 10 minutes went by. Like it just... I don't want to say I hated it because hate is a strong word, but I did not like this movie. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I think I gave it a 1. This was my least favorite movie I've seen.
Of all time?
Yeah.
Of the series?
Not like ever, but of the series.
No, of the series.
Yes, I did not like this movie. Well, for starters, I'm not a big fan of violence to begin with, which we all know. Now, like, vampire movies, like, I grew up in the Twilight era. You know, like, those were really big when I was in middle school.
This is a little different.
Very different than Twilight. I didn't like it. It was weird. Like there were some parts of it that were, I guess, kind of funny. But I don't know. Personally, I was not a fan. I will say though, I do want to give bonus points because I did like the ending. Where, you know, they're prepping their house and they got the garlic bath and the garlic water and the water guns. That was pretty funny. And like some of the quotes at the end were funny too. Like, garlic don't work, boys. You know. And the kid from the Goonies was in there, which I thought was cool. But other than that, like... Oh, and the plot twist at the end, or I don't remember his name, but the guy that the mom was dating, he actually did wind up being a vampire. Sorry, spoiler for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Because they think they killed the main vampire, and then they realize,
it's
actually
him.
His
now,
mom's
that
boyfriend. Yeah.
was actually a big plot twist for me. It was not. I was not expecting that. So I do give some bonus points for that. Other than that, though, I did not like it. This is like I normally really like movies from the 80s too. Was not a fan of this one.
Okay.
So we know you don't like violence. What else was bad about the movie? The music, the cinematography?
No, I like the soundtrack. The soundtrack was pretty good.
The soundtrack was very popular. Like, very popular.
I liked it. No, I thought the music was like the saving point of it for me.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like the acting. It was kind of corny. And I know all vampire movies are kind of corny in their own way. It didn't live up. Not that I had expectations, but compared to the other movies that I've had the privilege to watch in this movie minute, it just was not up to par with the rest of those. And I'm not gonna lie, after I watched it, I went on IMDb and like Rotten Tomatoes just to kind of see, because I knew what I was gonna give it, but I was curious. I was like, I wonder what other people are gonna rate this movie, and I was shocked at the people giving it 5 stars. And I get it, to each their own. We all have our own opinions, and we all have our own thoughts on certain things. But I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
So you gave it a 1 out of 5.
I did.
So you would not recommend that on a rainy night, nothing to do. Do not watch the movie.
See, on a stormy night, I prefer to watch Harry Potter, but that's just me.
This movie, to be fair, was credited with increasing sex appeal of vampires, which led to things like Twilight. So,
well, like I said,
you can thank Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah,
for
so
that,
you
I
should
guess.
thank Lost Boys, Molly, for your
Thanks.
Twilight series.
Thanks, guys. I also haven't seen Twilight probably since I was in high school.
Since last week.
No.
Those are Paige's favorite movies.
Really?
Yes, and I will say that she realizes that they're bad, but it's nostalgic for her. And
see, that's how it is for me too. I recognize Twilight; they're not great movies.
Now,
But it's more of the nostalgia.
How many
factor.
do they have? 3?
4.
They did 4?
Well, the last
the movies.
in
There's
2.
5 movies.
Because it's like New Moon, like
There's 4 books, I think, and then 5 movies.
I know the last one they split into 2 though.
Yeah, there's 5
it was
movies.
like
I've
Breaking
seen
Dawn
them all
Part 1 and Part 2.
too many times.
Yeah. See, I don't even know. But like I said, it's probably been a good 5 or 6 years since I've seen all of them.
Oh, I probably watch at least one of those a week because of my wife. Or it'll be on in the background.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention, but it's there.
Secretly, he's looking over his
She's
shoulder.
all about it.
We need to get Paige to one day, instead of having Twilight on,
Yeah.
and he comes walking through the room, needs to be Sound of Music or Gone with the Wind.
See, growing up, I loved Sound of Music.
Yeah, I enjoy music.
Because you had all the singing kids.
You just don't want to see it in a movie.
No,
Yeah.
no. But hey, to each their own. Okay, so you gave it a 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
What is because you always find a funny or clever, witty quote from the movie that you kind of put on there. Did you find one?
I did. It was when they kind of find out that they're all like a family or whatever at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Edgar. He was like, great, it's the blood-sucking Brady Bunch.
There
I thought
go.
that was
Okay,
funny.
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, and it was like, what was it? It was in the very beginning. I think I wrote it down. Hold on, because I write down the funny ones.
Probably didn't write down a lot last night or whenever you watched this one.
No, it was something with like the reason the mom got a divorce that I thought was really funny, but I can't remember the exact quote. Oh, also another thing I need to talk about that I was absolutely appalled with is when they kept showing the dang vampire feet. I was like, get those things off of my screen. I do not want to see. It was disgusting with the nails and like the feet.
So you're the opposite of Landrum.
Yes.
Landrum would have been saying
was
more vampire feet.
Absolutely vile. Like, quit. I had to turn away. It was so nasty.
So,
I don't want to see feet with long toes. Ugh.
so you don't agree with the average. So if you go, Rotten Tomatoes, we all know what Rotten Tomatoes is, but there's something called Cinema Score, and that is essentially just, it's not critics, it's what do people that watch the movie like? Did they approve of it? What would they give it?
Yeah.
According to audiences, this movie was given an A-.
What?
It is incredibly popular.
Yeah, no. I would have given it like a D-, maybe an F. Maybe not an F.
Ooh,
That's
an
a little.
F.
No, I'd probably give it like a D-.
No, you hate it.
No, hate's a strong word. I didn't totally, because like I said, the ending was kind of the saving grace for
Yeah.
me. Up until then, I was like, I cannot wait for this thing to be over. But then the ending, like I said, with the big fight at the end and the plot twist, I was like, okay, like, whatever. And the other thing too that I kept noticing about this movie is how people knew in, what was it, Santa Clara? Santa
Clara? Yeah.
Santa Clara.
Yes. How people like knew that there were vampires, but how come they didn't do anything about it sooner? Does that make sense? And then finally at the end,
They're just kind of cool with them existing. Oh yeah, we'll just let them
Yeah.
do their thing, and
because everyone knew it and you knew how to get rid of them. And I get you're scared, but I feel like if enough people kind of gang up together, you can
I'm sure they
not
got enough
make it-
garlic in that town.
not make it the murder capital of the world anymore. Because that was the big thing in the movie.
That's a good point.
I don't know. That was,
See, you're picking out all these plot holes, Molly. That's
I
That's
am.
why it's only 1 star.
I don't know. I'm like, why didn't you do anything about the vampires earlier?
After 5 minutes, Molly's like, "This is so unbelievable."
Again, it was the feet for me. I couldn't do it. That was
The
disgusting.
feet were the worst.
No, I'm not kidding
I didn't
you.
see that coming.
I didn't either.
They kept showing the dang feet. And I was like, get those away.
Can't wait to tune in next
I know.
Friday and hear what
Oh,
she didn't like about the documentary. If she didn't like the feet in Lost Boys.
I'm really concerned for what you guys
Well,
have
it's
me
over
watching.
now because the audience has assigned you Pee-wee's Big Adventure at 50.2% of the audience. This is an overwhelming mandate by the listeners of this radio show.
Mm.
Absolute mandate.
Great.
So you will watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and then you will immediately follow that up within a 24-hour period, and you will watch the documentary on the star of Pee-wee's Big Adventure on Max. So it's a 2-parter.
And then if you can't sleep, you're going to watch Blow with Johnny Depp.
Wait, will I not be able to sleep?
Well, I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah,
Is it
I
going to
don't
give me
know.
nightmares?
No, no.
Did the feet give you nightmares?
A little bit.
Well, then this might.
Well,
Huh.
all right. So that's this week's Molly's Movie Minute. She hated Lost Boys. And next week, she's going to love Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Everyone loves Pee Wee.
Mm-hmm. So did Pee Wee. All right, more three-man front. We may have some news coming out of the state of Alabama, the southern part, and Benjamin Russell High School. We'll get to that next on Three-Man Front. Welcome back to Three-Man Front on Jox. Pat, Conrad, Molly with you until 2 o'clock. That sound signifies that we have breaking news here on Three-Man Front. And with the breaking news, I sent it over to the breaking news desk where a freshly shaven Conrad Van Order will give us the very latest. Conrad.
Thank you, Pat, and appreciate everyone tuning in this afternoon for our breaking news. We've been keeping an eye on this for the last 45 minutes. Five-star wide receiver Cedarian Morgan has officially committed to the University of Alabama. The five-star wide receiver, the number 2 overall wide receiver in the 2026 class, chooses Alabama over Florida, Georgia, Auburn, Colorado, and Clemson, and he now gives Alabama, depending on where you look, either 3 or 4 5 stars in the upcoming 2026 class. Alabama was 7th in the country in recruiting ahead of this announcement, so you have to assume that they just got bumped up a little bit there. But a big one, Pat, for Alabama, and the Firecracker 5 from our good friend Rodney Orr continues to be automatic.
What is that, 4 of the 5 so far?
That is correct, yes.
4 of the
Jaira
5.
Edwards is the final piece of the Firecracker 5. Yep.
So how good is Benjamin Russell 5-star receiver Cedarian Morgan? You just heard some of the numbers in which Conrad shared. He is 6'4", 210 pounds. He is the number 1 player in the state of Alabama. He is the number 11 player nationally, according to 247 Sports. He chose Alabama over Auburn, Clemson, Colorado, Florida, and Georgia. And if I'm not mistaken, the reason why we had a little bit of a pause is that I believe he said that he just needed to take a minute or two. So maybe there was, I think, was that his mother?
That he walked out with?
Right.
Yes. That appeared to be his mother. They walked out. They had, I guess,
they were draped.
Cloaks.
They were draped in a cloak, a cape, or whatever it was. You couldn't see what they were wearing. And so maybe they had a wardrobe malfunction or something of the sort. And then they came out and they took the cloaks off. And then
he had on the Alabama jersey.
He had the Alabama jersey on, and his mom had Alabama gear on. And he has committed to the University of Alabama.
Yep. So that is 3 straight days. Now 10 straight days with a commitment. 3 straight days that you've gotten a wide receiver commitment now for Alabama as well. So they stay hot in Tuscaloosa.
And if you remember last year, one of the keys to Auburn's success is they just really racked up the state of Alabama.
Yes, they did.
The top 10 talent, the majority of the talent went to Auburn. Well, the script has been flipped for the 2026 class because Alabama, it seems like they are cherry picking and getting who they want right now in regards to recruiting.
Yeah, so they have just been bumped up again. This is according to 247 Sports, so they now are the 6th best recruiting class in the country. So you get a
5-star and you only go up 1?
Apparently so. But so that now goes Xavier Griffin, Cedarian Morgan, Jordan Edmonds, and Xavier Crowell. Those are your 4 5-stars for Alabama. They are up to 17 overall commitments. And we remember just a few weeks ago, they were sitting at around 4 or 5, and now they find themselves at 17. And as we talked about with Rodney, tomorrow expected to be a day off for Alabama, and then right back to it on July 4th with Nolan Wilson, the defensive lineman, on July 4th. And on July 5th, you will have Jaira Edwards, who is another 5-star safety. So a big pickup for Alabama as they seem to have their wide receiver class shored up now with Cedarian Morgan, Brian Williams, and Cabell.
And you mentioned Xavier Griffin, right?
Yes, the linebacker, correct.
He just tweeted out 3 minutes ago, another one soon with a thinking emoji.
That's what I was talking about. So I asked Rodney about earlier, man. These guys are, and again, I'm not saying this means that they're all going to stay committed, but they seem to have all come together and agreed, hey, we're all going to go to Alabama and we're going to make this class very, very special. That doesn't mean things can't change, but at least as it stands right now, this thing is a monster.
So Alabama up to number 6, according to the 247 composite. Let's go to Mississippi. Joining us on the Jox 94.5 app, Miles joins us from Mississippi. Hey, Miles.
Hello, all. I had to put my headphones in. Can y'all hear me okay?
We got you loud and clear.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, there are some musicals that I like.
Okay. What's your favorite musical of all time?
Oh, geez. It might be, I'm sorry, Conrad, it might be, oh, geez, I don't know. I like Les Mis a lot because the story is so powerful.
I thought you were going to say Gone with the Wind, Miles.
Well, let's talk about this a minute. First off, The Sound of Music is, let's talk about hell. Hell, in my mind, is
a bunch of singing Nazis? Is that hell?
It's the sound of music being played on a loop. That's hell. You know, that to me. Okay. And I even like some musicals, but
not that one.
That film's just, oh, God help us. Now, Molly.
Yes.
The Lost Boys.
Yes.
You essentially, do y'all remember the scene where they're having the really cheesy concert?
Yeah.
Outdoors. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
She tried to forget
Now,
it, but now she remembers it.
Yeah. Let's go into that. That scene, essentially, when you soak that scene up, that is essentially like taking a graduate level class in 80s history. Okay, all packed into that one scene.
Mm-hmm.
You have a shirtless, hair pulled back,
Yep.
bodybuilder with body butter all over him. He's greased up.
He was very shiny.
And
mm-hmm.
Yes, with a bunch of kids dancing badly.
Yep.
Outdoors, and he's playing the saxophone and he's singing a song. Now, how 80s is this? I Still Believe.
That was very 80s.
The only thing missing was Ronald Reagan walking up on the stage and telling Gorbachev to tear the wall down. That or, Michael Jackson doing a moonwalk. Now, the guy who did that, who's playing the saxophone and doing the fist pump, which is a GIF, by the way, his name was Tim Capello, I think. That was Tina Turner's saxophonist.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
And if you go back and look at some of her videos, you will see him shirtless with a saxophone greased up, just like he was in the movie.
That's amazing.
A sport connection. The love interest in that film, Jamie Gertz, long, curly, okay, yeah. She, I think, is married to the owner of the Atlanta Hawks.
That is correct.
I think now.
Yes.
Corey Haim, who played the younger brother, he not only did that vampire film, he did a werewolf film called Silver Bullet. And here's your juicy bit. Kiefer Sutherland was engaged to Julia Roberts, and they broke it off. And then she started dating Jason Patrick, who played the older brother in that film.
That is crazy. Miles, Thank you so much for the call. Have a great 4th of July weekend. 4th hour straight ahead on Jox. Welcome back to Jox and Three-Man Front. Pat Smith, Landrum Roberts off today. Conrad in studio, Molly in studio. We're off the next couple of days, but we will be back on Monday. Hope everyone has a very safe 4th of July holiday weekend. Headlines at the hour. Big news for Alabama recruiting. They're now up to number 6 in American recruiting as the top player in the state of Alabama, 5-star wide receiver from Benjamin Russell High School, Cedarian Morgan. He just committed about 20 minutes ago to the University of Alabama. This is the 10th consecutive day that Alabama has gotten a commitment for the 2026 class. So Morgan is now the 4th 5-star to commit to the University of Alabama. No other program in America currently has more than 2.
That is correct. And so Alabama now with 17 total commitments, 4 5-stars, 7 4-stars, and 6 3-star recruits for Alabama in this cycle. And like you said, Pat, no other school has more than 2 5-stars. And Alabama, if you listened to Rodney Orr earlier and you've heard the last couple of weeks, they are also trending towards landing another 5-star this weekend in 5-star safety Jira Edwards. So that would be quite an advantage Alabama would have in the 5-star department if they're able to get his commitment as well.
So a huge story that continues to develop for this 2026 class for the University of Alabama. Movie time for next week. It will be Molly's movie. Why are you frowning?
I'm so scared. You guys have really freaked me out from this movie.
It was Conrad's idea.
Well,
Pee-wee's Big Adventure will be the movie.
Don't look at me.
I'm looking right at you. You're the one that writes the polls.
Whoa. Where?
Isn't it Conrad who does the polls?
Where does
He's the one that always asks me about the movies that I watch.
Yeah, Conrad.
It's a group effort.
Okay.
Where did this come from? Like I'm the sole person responsible for this now?
Well, you're just always the one asking me. No one else asked me, so I just assumed that you did
Pat's
it.
scared to ask, so I have to.
I'm not scared to ask. I'm not scared to ask her anything.
Yeah, sure. I'll take the blame for it. It's fine. I'll take the blame. So that means all the great movies that Molly watched this year, that is also
because of you.
To my credit.
Yes, I will give you that.
That's fair. Of course, Pat would try to throw this off on me. Why did we not blame it on Landrum? He's not here today. He can't defend himself.
It's all Landrum's fault.
Should have just said it's all Landrum.
Oh yeah, it is all Landrum's fault.
That's the easiest. That's the easy way out, and we're not taking it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we do this every single day, brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. I come up with questions. The group gives me answers. This is Pat Ponders. Brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. Now it's going to be a wonderful time, long weekend. Go by and look at their 9 acres of inventory. The summer sales event is going on right now, and Courtesy GMC has got the deals for you on a brand new GMC, whether it's a Sierra, whether it's a AT4X on any type of model, whether it's a Acadia. How about a Yukon Denali Terrain? They got some 2026 Terrains. Yes, 2026. Ready to go right there at Courtesy GMC. Visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com. Question number 1. The WNBA announced this week an expansion to 18 teams, adding teams in Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Do you think a WNBA franchise would work in Birmingham?
No. I do not.
I'm also going to say no. And not just because people don't like women's sports, but we don't have any of the big 4 here, so I don't get why people would go to that if we don't have... I mean, we can't even get people to go to a Stallions game. I don't think people would go to a WNBA game here, but that's just me.
I will throw in the caveat that if Caitlin Clark played in Birmingham, I think you would have people that attended. Like
it would be different.
That's kind of the cheat code, essentially, for the Indiana Fever, and deservedly so, right? She deserves to get that much fanfare, but first off, no, I don't think there's an audience for that here. But my whole thing with the WNBA expansion in the first place is, great, so you're just taking more money from the NBA now because none of these franchises make any money. So how are you going to expand a league that operates at a deficit?
I am glad that Detroit is getting their franchise back, though. I do think that one makes sense.
What were they called, the last one?
I think the Shock.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
I mean, they won a couple championships.
Did Philadelphia ever have one?
That I don't know.
That's a Landrum question. He's our WNBA
He is.
expert.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, that's a both no for you guys. It would not work.
I just don't think here.
No.
Maybe elsewhere, but just not in Birmingham.
I think it's a stupid idea to expand a league that doesn't have a lot of fanfare and doesn't make any money in the first place. But
you're such a hater. Why aren't you about the community?
The 12 people in the community that are going to go to the... You have WNBA.
I would go.
You have WNBA. Sophie Cunningham literally did an interview yesterday where she said, I don't know why people would want to go to Detroit or Cleveland. Why are they
cannot believe that. That was so disappointing. I hate it when people knock on Detroit sports that have never been to the city and never been to a game. Like, you play in Indiana. No offense.
Ooh. Yes, Molly, yes.
No offense.
You know what's happened?
I also fit in that boat because I've never been to Detroit and I'm pooping on their WNBA franchise.
You know what's happened here?
And the Detroit Shock held the WNBA attendance records, by the way, I believe up until Caitlin Clark. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Like, the fact that they're getting their franchise back, I think is huge.
So what has happened is that Lost Boys has sold her so bad is that now she's going to be this whole smart mouth young lady on this show where she's just absolutely...
Smart mouth.
Now she's dogging the people of Indiana, the Hoosier state.
I just can't wait to...
Kurt Signetti soiled me.
Hey, he's sold a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to get my highlights on the Vibe Check on ESPN Plus for the new WNBA franchises.
Have you checked that show out yet?
Don't think that I will.
Oh, okay. Question number 2. Statistics say Gen Z drinkers are no longer opening tabs at bars. They close tickets after every drink, and bartenders are annoyed. So the question is, do you prefer to open a tab, or do you just pay per drink?
I will be the first to admit, and I don't know if this is I don't know if a bartender appreciates this or it's more frustrating for them. I have a really bad habit of opening tabs. I always open a tab and I will forget to close it a lot of the time, or I'll go and leave and be like, I don't want to walk back in and close my tab, so I'll just leave it be because it's a 20% tip, which is traditionally what I would give them anyways. So I don't sweat it. But yeah, I have a bad problem of leaving tabs open.
I usually don't open a tab, but I'm usually just getting like 1 or 2 drinks when I go out anyway, so I don't really need to open a whole tab. Right, yeah.
So when you're out with your friends, though, do they...
We open tabs.
Open tabs?
Yeah. Just, and I mean, granted, like there are times, like Molly says, if we're going somewhere, we're like, oh, we're going to be here for 30 minutes. Like, we'll just grab one drink and close it out or whatever. If we know that we're not going to be there for a long time. But yeah, if I'm going and grabbing a drink with my friends, on a Friday night or something, yeah, we're going to open a tab and just hang out.
Like, if I do go out with my friends, what we'll do to make it easier is like one person will kind of cover for everybody, and then the next person will get the next round. And then, kind of depending on where we go, how many drinks we want to get.
I've done that before, like in Nashville, when you're somewhere that's really
crowded. It's easier that way, and then you can just Venmo people, and then that way you don't have to give the bartender a bunch of different cards.
I agree with that, yeah. That is smart.
Question number 3. Which candy bar is number 1 on your candy bar Mount Rushmore? A little difficult for Conrad.
I was about to say, I don't...
Nuts.
See, I was thinking a Reese cup. I love Reese's. But I also love a Kit Kat.
Would that be considered a candy bar?
A Kit Kat?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say so. It's a Kit Kat bar.
Yeah, it's a Kit Kat. Yeah.
No, I was thinking like a Payday, a Snickers.
Oh, okay.
That's more of a candy bar.
Oh, like a Hershey. Yeah. Maybe like a Twix. That's a candy bar, right?
I mean, the Snickers I had one time was pretty good before my throat closed up, so I guess that would be my pick.
So you were fond of the Snickers?
I like the Snickers. It was pretty good. Yeah, before the allergies hit. But yeah, I mean, I don't like Hershey bars. Like just plain chocolate like that is not.
Like if they're the little ones you get at Halloween, sure. But just like
a whole Hershey bar?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So yeah, I mean, I guess Snickers, but I'll never eat one again. So
I probably got
RIP.
Twix.
What about you, Pat?
Snickers.
Snickers?
Yeah.
Those are very good.
Yep. Next question. China is planning the first ever humanoid robot games next month. Do you think this is creepy or a true test of human ingenuity?
Okay, so it's just, like what are they? The Boston Dynamics robot. The one that'll do like the obstacle course and jump. It's
Yeah.
like that, essentially.
Do you think it's creepy or you think it's
I
cool?
think it's creepy.
It's cool, but it is also concerning.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that we have been able to make those sorts of,
Yes.
improvements with technology and how far that we have come, and seeing some of the things that those robots can do is very, very impressive. But it also terrifies me because if something goes wrong, that we're all, we're done. We don't stand a chance.
You said it's creepy.
I'm not a fan.
Kind of like the feet in Lost Boys.
Absolutely not. That's still
The
an
feet are way
image
creepier,
I'm trying to get out of my head.
but the feet can't kill you.
No, but they're just disgusting.
What about robot feet?
Absolutely not. No feet for me.
Okay.
She apparently has never been to Landrum's website.
No.
Apparently not, and I
I-
guess she won't be anytime soon.
I stay away.
That's why he's having to.
That's why he had to take today off, do some work on the
Some updates.
the server.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Server was crashed over the weekend. Notice it's a big weekend on the sandals that he sells on the site.
And the toe rings.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's big time.
And the navel rings, yeah.
Oh, he's got navel rings now?
Well, I think that's it's kind of you pay the extra processing and handling, but they throw it in for free.
Oh.
It's one of those
Oh.
you think you're getting it for free,
Yeah.
but it's really $6 or $7. But it's a nice,
Nice little touch.
it's a nice thought.
Yeah.
Question number 5. What's a hobby that you have that others may think as geeky?
I play video games.
Having to watch Lost Boys? I don't know.
That's not geeky. Well, you're big into the numbers and stuff, like
Oh, I
just
guess,
like
like, stats
statistical
and- yeah,
deep dives and
probably
things
that.
of that nature. Yeah.
I like numbers. I like Legos. Maybe that.
Yeah, you do have didn't you tell me you have a lot of Legos?
I have a ton of I love Legos. I have the Lego Eiffel Tower. It's awesome.
How tall is it?
Maybe like 4 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's basically Damien's height.
Yeah, pretty much. It actually might not be that tall, but it's pretty tall. I don't know how tall it is.
So
Yeah.
Damien
Oh,
can walk
that's awesome.
underneath your
He
Eiffel
could.
Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could sit under there and take a picture.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was last year, 2 years ago, but Paige had told me, like, after the fact, she said, I don't know if you would have liked this or not, but I was going to get you. I guess they have a Lego that's the Titanic.
Yes.
Like,
I
the,
think
And it's all broken up.
No.
no,
It's like broken in half.
no.
Iceberg not
Wait, let me guess. You open up the Lego box and you basically just throw it out, all the pieces on the floor. And like, go look, there's the
that's it.
Titanic.
Yeah, and then you have the little Leonardo DiCaprio figurine you can go throw in the sink and it'll drown.
I think the Titanic though is one of the largest sets ever, or like it is the largest set or something.
So
it's really expensive.
Yeah,
though.
because she saw it and she was like, I think you would think that was so cool. And I was like, man, I haven't played with Legos since I was, in middle school probably.
So I was
but
20.
it would be, but it would be really cool. But
Since
yeah,
like 3 weeks ago for me.
then she said it was like, it was something it was like $500.
When was,
something
the,
crazy.
when was the last time like you?
I built a Lego set.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Maybe 3 weeks ago. Because I went.
What was the set?
It was actually a cat. I went to the Lego store up in Huntsville,
Huntsville?
with my cousins, and we all got a set. So
How many pieces?
it was just a small one.
Oh.
Yeah, my parents got me one.
Do they come in the?
Oh,
Now I remember this a long time ago with
Mhm.
with the boys. It's almost like puzzle pieces. Like it will say like on the box like this one.
How many pieces, and yeah, it comes
Yeah.
in different bags too, depending on how many pieces. But in my apartment, I have the cat. I have a Grogu one that can turn his head. That's really cute from Star Wars.
Where's the Eiffel Tower? Back in Huntsville.
It's back in Huntsville, yeah. I have a couple of the flowers. You know how you can get like the bouquets.
Mhm.
I have some of those. What else do I have?
so I'm looking it up right now.
I have a ton at home though. Me
So-
and my dad.
So the Titanic one,
Mhm.
this is if you get it from the Lego website, lego.com, $680, over 9,000 pieces.
I'm pretty sure it's one of the largest ones.
And your
they've
wife
ever
was
made.
considering spending
well,
$600 something
before she
dollars
saw
on that.
how much it cost, she
Legos
just
are
saw,
expensive.
it's a Lego Titanic thing.
Yeah.
I love my wife to death. She's a very good gift giver. I would be upset if she spent on Legos. I mean, I remember growing up when I was a kid, one of the best Christmas gifts I ever got is when they came out with the Hogwarts Legos thing.
Yeah,
And I had like all the Harry Potter stuff. And at that time, I mean, I was probably like 7 when I got that. And I think that was like $150, $200. And that was like
insane.
That was
for
the
back
pinnacle
then.
of Legos. That was the mecca. And now this stuff is insane.
See, we never had this one, but I had a friend in Michigan that had the giant Death Star, and it was a ton of pieces like that and super expensive. I remember I was so jealous. I wanted that one so bad.
I'm blown away by how expensive some of these things. I mean, these are.
They're very expensive.
Yeah, no joke. Wow.
That is this week's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Get by and see them right off of I-459, exit 32. Best deals you're going to find anywhere in the state of Alabama on a brand new GMC, or go to their website, courtesybirmingham.com. Next on Jox, we will continue to read your text messages. Phone lines are open, 1-800-239-WJOX. Welcome back to Jox Three-Man Front. Pat Landrum, not here. Molly, here. Conrad, here. We'll all be here Monday.
Bueller.
Couple days off upcoming. Hope everyone has a very safe, be careful out there with your Roman candles, your sparklers, Conrad.
I'll try.
Yep. And you, Molly, with your M80s.
Thank you. I'm stocked with those. Well, let me be direct about Diamonds Direct because they really live up to their name. There's no middleman, there's no runaround, just incredible diamonds straight from the source. And the price, way more reasonable than I expected. You get exactly what you want, and you don't have to empty your savings to do it. When I first walked in a couple weeks ago, I felt like a VIP. They welcomed me with a glass of champagne and treated me like I actually mattered. The place itself is stunning. It's clean, modern, and bright, and everything sparkles, and it's not just the jewelry. It's the staff as well. And right now, they have a pretty amazing deal going on. So if you're looking to get engaged, now is the time to do it because you can buy an engagement ring and you get the wedding band for free. Seriously, I mean it. That is a free wedding band. So lucky for you if you're thinking about popping the question. That's our friends over at Diamonds Direct.
So a little bit of NBA news. It appears that the New York Knicks are set to hire Mike Brown as the next head coach. And it's interesting because earlier this week, there was a strong story that was making the rounds that Dawn Staley, the head basketball coach of the University of South Carolina, was a serious candidate for that job.
Mm-hmm.
And then we heard a story a couple days ago that that was no longer a possibility. So that was kind of the first indication, Conrad, that we probably were going to see someone else be named the head coach. That's typically what happens in any type of coaching search, whether it's pro or college. But man, I think that, thinking out of the box, someone like Dawn Staley, I think she would have done an excellent job at the New York Knicks.
I think it would have been, it would have been an interesting direction for them to take the franchise, undoubtedly. But yeah, I think Dawn Staley's an excellent coach, and I think she's cut from a cloth that would allow her to excel in an NBA environment. And it's one of those things where it would be something different for the players, but I think that she would garner respect for not only what she's done at South Carolina, but the way that we know that she likes to lead. And that would have been interesting. So I'm not going to be surprised if Dawn Staley is an NBA head coach here in the next couple of years somewhere else. But instead of Dawn Staley, they have hired Mike Brown, who, if you followed the NBA, is a very familiar name. Of course, he kind of rose to prominence as the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James during his initial tenure there in Cleveland, where they made an NBA Finals appearance but got swept by the San Antonio Spurs. He won an NBA Coach of the Year with the Cavaliers before going to Los Angeles, where he actually succeeded Phil Jackson as the head coach of the LA Lakers. But that was a disaster, and he left there after a couple of seasons. He then joined Golden State as an assistant, where he won a couple of titles with them as well. And then he was the head coach of the Sacramento Kings. So New York hires someone that has been around the league for quite some time now, Pat, and very familiar with expectations, playing in the postseason. He knows what it takes to win a title, and that's what New York's hoping he can bring to them.
The Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. Let's get back to the text line. So many of you have texted in today, a myriad of topics, whether it's movies suggested to Molly. Molly, next week we'll have to watch and review Pee-wee's Big Adventure, or you want to talk about the recruiting, what's going on with Alabama and Auburn. Unfortunately for Auburn fans, they are currently 89th in recruiting. Bama gets another 5-star today. It was their 4th. They are now 6th. They moved up 1 in the 247 composite.
Yes, they did. And 205-834-9450 is how you can chime in here. You text it in. We will read it and hopefully be able to read it on the air. Oh, this is awesome. So Ian has texted in a picture. His wife actually has the Titanic Lego set, and it's almost complete.
No way.
Yeah, he says the wife is almost finished with it, and it looks like, that's over half the boat.
I wonder how long it's taken.
Yeah, Ian, if you can text us in and let us know how long.
I would love to know that.
She's been working on that. That would be awesome. But yeah, that looks really, really cool. Thank you for sending that in, Ian. Drake chimes in. He says, Conrad, how long do you think it would take you to put together the Titanic? Well, if I ever got it, which at that price point, don't think I would ever be doing that. I mean, that would take weeks, I would think. 9,000 pieces. I have to imagine that would take quite some time. Damien, our good teammate here, he texted and he said, I can't lie, that stray y'all just threw at me actually made me laugh about him being the same size as Molly's Lego Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
He appreciates good humor. One of the Pat Ponders questions today was, what is a hobby you have that others may think is geeky? Dave chimes in. He says, doing crosswords would be my geeky hobby. Certainly a good one. I had one of my grandmothers who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago. She did the New York Times daily crossword puzzle every single day of her life until she was 93 years old. And
Very
passed
cool.
away.
Wow.
It was smart as a whip.
I
Absolutely
also like
incredible.
Sudoku. Like, that's my airplane game.
Sudoku's fun.
Yes.
I agree.
play that a lot.
I really like the Wordle and the what's the other one? The categories one they have on New York Times. Those are pretty fun. Little
Oh,
brain
the
tweezers.
Connections?
Connections.
Have you played Strands?
Thank you. I've not. What's
Strands is like the new one where it's kind of like a word search and you have to piece together words and they all go together.
Oh.
I recommend it's really fun.
that? Okay, I'll have to check that one. Check that one out. Someone says, can Pat say heater again?
Heater.
I feel like you say that normal. I don't know. Maybe one time your
I might have
southern
said-
twang came
I
out
might
a
have
little
said
bit.
heater.
Yeah,
Heater with a D.
that's right.
Heater.
Let's see. Walker chimes in and says, would you consider keeping scorecards for the Braves geeky? No, I mean, it's just kind of sad this year, but no, I wouldn't say it's geeky.
Sad.
I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sad is going a whole series against Pittsburgh and not scoring a run.
Yeah, Pat's not in a good mood right now. Maybe it'll turn around here.
I doubt
Yeah, probably not. Let's see. Jimmy, he chimes in. He says, my geeky hobby is instant photography, Fujifilm, Polaroid, love them all. Attachment lenses, color filters, the works. I love dead technology.
Oh, so he's talking about he likes to use the old technology.
Where you can take the picture and then it'll, you wave it around. And I know how old cameras work, Pat. I've used one before.
I got a Polaroid for, I think, my 15th birthday, and I still have it, and I'll use it sometimes. You just got to buy the film for it.
Yeah. Let's see. Two-parter here from Darren. First off, Conrad, have you used a stranger's toothbrush yet? No, I have not. And we have now had multiple opportunities in public for our listeners to provide me with said toothbrush, and it hasn't happened.
You know it's going to happen. We will make that happen.
You'll find someone outside of the hotel in Atlanta at Media Days and probably go grab a toothbrush and bring it back in there. Oh, Conrad, we're going to do it in the middle of Radio Row.
That's a great idea.
I shouldn't have said that.
That's a lovely
I'm so
idea.
glad you mentioned that.
Probably should not have said that out loud.
Because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people outside the hotel in Atlanta that we could get to volunteer.
Can't wait.
I mean, we might have to provide them with a toothbrush.
Thanks, Pat. Darren also says, have you ever stepped on a Lego at 3 a.m. in the dark? That is not very fun.
Yeah, it's not good.
That is not fun. That is absolutely not fun. Let's see. Josh chimes in. He says, has anyone suggested any of the Ernest Goes To movies for Molly to watch yet? I bet she would get a kick out of Ernest Goes to Camp.
I have never seen those.
Well, we will have
We
to
will add that to the
potentially
list.
add that one to the list. Let's see here. Somebody chiming in about the favorite candy bar. That was another Pat Ponders question. Someone says 100 grand and Heath bars, excuse me, are both highly underrated. I have never known someone that went and bought 100 grand or a Heath bar.
I also love whatchamacallits. That's such a good candy bar.
That's what it's called?
It's
It
it's
is.
called a whatchamacallit. They're
Mhm.
so good.
Do they have peanut butter in them?
There's like a bunch of stuff in them.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
better for me to avoid those then.
We will continue with your text messages, phone calls as well, 1-800-239-WJOX. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Independence Day weekend. We will take tomorrow and Friday off. Be back in studio on Monday. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Big story today. Alabama, another 5-star recruit has committed to Alabama, this time in the borders of the state of Alabama. So you remember last year, Auburn had just incredible success in the state of Alabama, locking up the top talent. Well, so far in this recruiting class for the University of Alabama, they have gotten commitments from Alexander City, Gadsden, Jackson, Muscle Shoals, and Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Not bad. A little different than last year.
Very much so. Alabama currently number 6 nationally in recruiting.
And Cedarian Morgan, who just committed to Alabama a few minutes ago, out of Benjamin Russell, he already did a quick interview down there, and they were asking him what ultimately led to him picking Alabama over Auburn, Georgia, Florida, and others. And he said Jamarcus Shepard is the reason that he is headed to Alabama. So one of the very best wide receiver coaches in the country got a raise this offseason, and I think we can all clearly see why.
Back to the text we go, 205-834-9450, brought to you by Courtesy GMC.
That is absolutely right. So we have Ian, who, if you are just now joining us, we were talking about Legos because Pat had asked one of the hobbies we have that's kind of geeky, and Molly said that she enjoys Legos. And so Ian texted in and said that his wife has been working on the Titanic Lego set, which, according to Molly, is either one of or the biggest Lego sets that you could possibly get. We looked it up, it was almost $700. So Ian, he says, he sent in a picture of it. Now he says his wife has been working on it on and off for a month while also working on other Lego sets in between. He said, we have Legos everywhere. Also built a big crane, the Hogwarts castle, the Home Alone house, and many others. That's impressive.
I love the Home Alone house one. I think one of my cousins has that one, and it's really cool.
I bet that is cool. But that's impressive if she's doing other stuff and she's made that. I mean, it was over 9,000 pieces.
See, I don't think I could just sit and do, I would need to take a break and work on something else for a while, and then,
Okay, this, probably a stupid question, but on, like, the Eiffel Tower one you have, because you have some of the, I guess they'd be, like, the more adult Legos, right? Those come with instructions, correct?
They all do.
Okay, I was about to say, you're not just, like, figuring this out on your own.
Absolutely not.
Okay, I figured surely it had step-by-step.
Even, like, the, I guess, baby Legos, if you will. They all come with the booklet.
Yeah, and I remember it as a kid. They all had instructions, and I would never use them. And then I would...
You wouldn't use them?
Well, and I would, or I wouldn't, and then I would be like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I would go, I guess I need to follow the instructions.
You need to
I was stubborn.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know with the adult ones how they did that.
No, they come with instructions.
As I said, it was a stupid question before I asked it. Back to the candy bar debate. What is your favorite candy bar? Coop Lion, he chimes in with, is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup a candy bar or a candy cup? So just to be safe, he's going to say the Reese's Nutrageous bar with Reese's Pieces.
I haven't had that.
That sounds like a lot of Reese's.
Not for Conrad.
Not for me. Would not be doing well. Jonathan chimes in. Says, I'm grabbing a toothbrush. I'm going to find the nearest person at a red light with the sign asking for money. Going to give him $10 to brush his teeth for 30 seconds, and then I will see you at the station.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be my concern.
So someone had asked, and we had talked about it earlier, but a candy bar is considered usually a rectangular food item. So a Reese's cup would not be considered. And that's why I was saying it, like a Twix would not be considered what they would call I know it's rectangular, but it's smaller. It's not. So
I got you.
Let's see. We have somebody, Josh says, I love the idea of the Robot Olympics, actually. Gives us a chance to scout our competition. I mean, that's one way to look at it, I guess. Yes, that could help you if you, are worried about the robot takeover. Maybe find some weaknesses there. It's an interesting perspective. Let's see, DG chimes in, says Snickers with pecans is his favorite candy bar.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
I don't think I've had that one either. I've seen it with almond.
Yeah, but not with
pecans, yeah.
Let's see. Somebody chiming in says, boy, if Vampire Feet offended Molly, she's really going to freak out over this documentary about Paul Rubens, a.k.a. Pee-wee. So I guess that means there's a lot of feet in the documentary.
I haven't seen it. I just saw an interview with him. And first off, I didn't know he was still alive. And second of all, I did not realize that he wasn't incarcerated.
Yeah, I didn't realize that one either. Oh, that was a great catch there. Let's see. We have somebody from Florida chiming in saying, man, I was watching the live stream of Cedarian Morgan and it froze before he revealed it. And then when it came back on, I saw the shirt his mom had on and thought it was a Georgia shirt. I got really excited. I mean, it was red and white. I mean, I could see where maybe you got
It was
confused
very
on that
unfortunate. He was supposed to do it at 12 noon. And then I guess the stream or something, I went down in a commercial break and Molly and I were watching it and then it froze up and it was just like, wow, what an unfortunate time for that to happen for the young man.
Still cool to watch, though.
We have somebody chiming in. They say, please be sure and let Molly know that there is actually a sequel to The Lost Boys if she wants to give that a watch. I did not know they made a sequel.
I did not realize that either.
I think I'm okay.
Have to imagine it did not do very well.
I think you need to watch it again. I think there were some things you probably missed.
Maybe with me being sick, my head is just cloudy and it, you know.
Enjoy the box wine and then watch it.
Maybe
I
that.
guarantee you it'd be better.
Yeah.
Hard for it to be worse based on Molly's review where she gave it 1 star out of 5.
Brutal.
Well,
Absolutely
it's just-
Brutal.
Of the movies I've seen, they've all been so good, and that one just was not up to par for me. Compared to, you know.
She has a high standard.
I do.
As you should. Someone chimes in, Conrad, if you don't like musicals, do you like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Lots of singing and dancing. To be fair, I did enjoy that as a kid. I haven't seen it in a long time. I mean, I'm sure I would still enjoy it.
The old one.
The old one? The one with Johnny Depp is creepy.
I think they're both creepy.
They are. But the one with Johnny Depp is really creepy.
Yeah.
But that's also what makes Johnny Depp such a great actor is he's
very true.
Kind of creepy. Let's see. Mike chimes in and says, if Molly didn't like The Lost Boys, then she definitely should watch Silver Bullet starring Gary Busey instead. You ever seen that one, Pat?
What was it? I'm sorry.
Silver Bullet starring Gary Busey.
I have not seen that.
Gary Busey is kind of a scary looking guy, though.
Gary Busey played the bear in the movie The Bear.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Maybe you ought to watch The Bear. Maybe we ought to put that on the list.
Yeah.
Not Cocaine Bear.
And not Pooh, Blood, and Honey.
Yeah. Who did we run into the other day that said that they had watched that?
Justin. Wasn't it Justin?
Yeah, it was Justin Armstrong. Yeah.
Oh, we were doing, this is so funny. So Paige she finds these things on TikTok that'll be like, trivia games or whatever on TikTok. And one of them was movie trivia. And so we were trying to do it last night and I got one of them right. And the answer was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Because it was like this, this recent horror movie took a classic kid's tale. And she was like, what is this? I said, I bet it's that Blood and Honey movie. And I'll be darned. But yeah, we work with somebody that's watched that movie.
I think if Molly watched The Lost Boys, she can watch that one.
I feel like it'd be
Pooh,
more
Blood, and Honey?
I feel like it'd be more
Absolutely
entertaining.
Not.
I feel like it'd be more.
Pooh Bear was my favorite Disney character when I was a baby. So no, I don't want to.
Now apparently he's a murderer.
I don't want that to ruin it for me.
Let's see. We have a few people chiming in saying that Pee Wee passed away a couple of years ago. He did.
Did he?
Yep. In July 2023.
So when was this documentary filmed?
I'm assuming it was. Let's see.
Oh yeah, he died July 30th, 2023. So I guess I shouldn't be shocked then.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how much of it is actually going to feature him. I'm assuming a lot of it is probably stuff from his show and movies, and then people that maybe worked with him along the way. But yeah, he passed away from cancer, so that's certainly sad. A couple of years ago. Let's see.
I forgot he played Penguin's father in one of the Batman movies.
Did he?
Yeah, Batman Returns.
Did not know that. I did not know that. Someone else chiming in, they say, just a regular Hershey's bar with a cold glass of milk is the best candy bar, no doubt about it. Steve asks, is Conrad allergic to pecans? Snickers make a pecan bar that is even better than the one with peanuts. I am allergic to I'm allergic to all nuts. There's not another way to say that. Pecan, cashew, walnut, peanut, almond. Can't have any of them. Can't have any of them. Well, keep the text rolling in 205-834-9450. That's the how you get on the courtesy GMC text line. So if you keep sending them in, we'll keep reading them, Pat.
One more segment to go of the week. Hope you'll join us. 1-800-239-WJOX, courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. .147 here on Jox. This is three-man front. You see the warning signs if you're a homeowner at times when the windows or doors that stick, cracks in the brick or the block of your home, the leaning or bowing walls in the basement, the settling or sinking of your foundation. How much time before that minor repair around your house can become a serious structural damage that's going to cost you many, many thousands in the near future? You can't afford to wait. Call APS today for a free estimate, 205-951-9717. Wet basements can also lead to issues with your home, from mold and mildew to rot and air quality problems. APS waterproofers can assess your issue, give you a plan, and they can fix your problems around your house. Foundation problems don't get better over time. They get better when you call APS, 205-951-9717, or simply go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com, a proud sponsor of Three Man Front here on Jox.
Well, our listeners have been fantastic as always today. Y'all have knocked it out of the park on the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. So many responses to the Great Pat Ponders segment, Molly's Movie Minute, where she reviewed The Lost Boys, and now next week we'll be watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure. A lot of you wanting to chime in about recruiting, candy bars, all of that great stuff. And we'll go back to your text now. Somebody chiming in, haven't heard this one yet. Brent, he says, Baby Ruth is his favorite candy bar. Just like, what's the guy's name in the Goonies, Molly? Sloth? Isn't that his name?
That was his favorite,
That
too.
was his favorite, yep. So that's the first Baby Ruth vote that we've gotten there. Somebody saying a movie recommendation, and I've brought this one up to you in the past. I can't remember if you've seen it or not, but Best in Show.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Great
Haven't
movie.
seen it.
That
Great
is a great
movie.
movie.
Um,
It's the genre of a mockumentary. Kind of like The Office was.
It's making fun of people that take dog shows way too seriously.
Oh, I bet that's awesome.
It is.
It is very good.
Okay, put that on the list.
It is very good.
No. We got a theme going here in the next couple weeks.
No, I want a good movie.
You've had good movies.
I know, but it's whatever.
We'll put good movies back on the list in October, right, Pat?
Yes, October.
Let's see. Someone chiming in says, Conrad, cashews are not nuts, but in fact legumes. At least that's what they say on Seinfeld. Well, then I guess
Are you allergic to legumes?
I guess I'm allergic to legumes. That's what.
Have you ever had a cashew?
Yes, I've had.
Oh, okay.
I've had all of these different things that I'm allergic to. I can. Yes, Molly. Thank you. I've had those before. Honestly, I thought legumes were seeds. Isn't that what they are? I don't know. Let's see. Michael says, Baby Ruth makes me think of the movie Caddyshack, not the Goonies. Okay, yeah, certainly.
In the swimming pool?
Certainly. Ronnie from Millbrook, he says, a Zero Bar. You familiar with that candy bar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hadn't heard of that one. We have a vote coming in for the Mr. Good Bar. Somebody saying that is their favorite. That is their favorite candy bar.
Oh no.
He's pulling a Landrum.
I can't read one of these, but Justin Texans says, wasn't Pee Wee Herman's favorite baseball team the Yankees?
I don't know who he was a fan of.
Oh, that's an awesome text, Justin. Thank you. Yep, saw that one coming, Andrew. Can't read that one about my allergy, but yes, both of those things would give me an allergic reaction. So you and I know what you're talking about there. Oh, wow, this is awesome. Someone texting in with a screenshot. Oh, I don't know if you want us to, I don't know how much of, I'll leave the name out of this, but we know who you are. You know who we are. But somebody's listening to us live inside of Sanford Stadium at Georgia. They just sent us a picture. They are on the grass
Nice.
at Sanford Stadium.
That's really cool.
Have a great 4th of July. You too. Appreciate you having a great 4th of July, doing the great work that you do. Let's see. It was not Kirby, unfortunately. Is there a tracked bar? Is that a candy bar? It says tracked by Nestle.
I'm not familiar with that.
Is that a
one.
candy bar? Not sure. Gosh. Y'all are very good, very clever listeners. Can't read some of these, unfortunately. I think the the last one that I read was kind of on the line there. Let's see. We have another text from Josh. He says, not a candy bar, but Stuckey's Divinity Roll or a pecan roll would be up there if it counted as a candy bar. Okay. Appreciate that. Jimmy says, Hugh Freeze must have finished first in his fantasy football league this past year, so now he's assuming his punishment is he has to stay at the bottom of the recruiting rankings all season. Let's see. Oh, Crackle by Nestle, a Crackle bar.
Oh, okay. I have heard of that one.
Somebody vote coming in for the Mars bar. Never had one of those. Let's see. Someone's suggesting Boogie Nights for a movie that Molly needs to see.
I don't know what that is. I haven't seen that.
I don't think that's.
Don't think we're going to put that one on the list.
No, that will not make.
See, when you
list.
said
No.
that, I don't know why, but I automatically thought of Saturday Night Fever. Like Boogie, you know?
I don't think that one's going to be on the list, but appreciate people sitting that one in. I know we've gotten that one a few times. Let's see. Brant, he chimes in. He says, curious case of Benjamin Button has to be on the list. Have a great 4th of July weekend. Love y'all and the show. Well, we appreciate that, Brant. That's a good one. I know you haven't seen that one. We've mentioned that before. The movie Cool Hand Luke has been suggested. Are you a fan of that one, Pat?
That's a good movie.
Cool Hand Luke?
Yeah.
Here you go. Walker texts in and says, whatchamacallit is the most underrated candy bar.
It is. They're so good.
And I had never, Molly showed me a picture of one in the break.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before.
You cannot have one, Conrad.
Unfortunately, well, maybe on my deathbed. Yeah, we've got.
Also, I just Googled it. Have not seen Boogie Nights. Don't worry.
Yeah. Someone chimes in with, if you're familiar with the roles in The Little Rascal, someone said they think Pee-wee probably had a favorite member of that movie. You can connect the dots on that one. We have some more people very excited about Cedarian Morgan committing to Alabama. If you missed it, the Benjamin Russell 5-star receiver announced his decision about an hour ago. He has committed with Alabama. He hasn't signed anything, but he has committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. And someone said, we'll wrap up with this one, says, I feel like Molly's review of The Lost Boys will apply perfectly to Pee-wee next week.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. Please have a very safe 4th of July long weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday at 10 a.m. for Conrad, Molly, Landrum off on assignment. I'm Pat Smith. Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July.